The Army Painter is my favorite hobby company in the entire world. My desk is literally full of Army Painter products, and it takes me from being an average painter to putting above tabletop standard models out into the tournament scene. Not only that, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive play than any other hobby company in the industry. They allow us to keep doing the things that we do. If you enjoy the Army Painter as much as I do, head over to thearmypainter.com where you can use the discount code ARTOFWAR5 to get a discount on your next order.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting Art of War live stream on a Tier List Tuesday.
We have a brand new Munitorum field manual, and today we're going to be talking about it and ranking every faction with their new changes.
Absolutely. You all know what time it is. You all love what time it is. Because every time GW likes to take the game, the little sandcastle, kick it over, turn it on its head, release some kind of big update, we like to do another tier list.
We do.
And this is obviously going to be our, hey, we just got these updates. Here's our first takes. You know, maybe we've played 2, 3, maybe 4 games. I think I meant 2 with all the new nonsense. But Tier List Tuesday, everyone!
Tier List Tuesday. Yeah, I've been simmering in these changes, and I really have to believe when I first got them, I was like, they're not that huge. It's going to be some, adjusting around the edges. But a lot of my factions have changed quite significantly. So
my factions have ended up in like stunningly good places. I am thrilled with the game right now, and because all of my armies are fair and balanced, and that's great. So like I'm okay with that. So very, very exciting times here. Every time there's a new change in the game, no matter how big or small, there's always like a little bit more excitement in the Art of War house.
Yes.
And I really enjoy that.
100%.
Makes work a little bit more fun. Everyone's excited. We all get a little lethargic at the end.
Yeah, I think we're all excited to build lists and see.
Yes.
I have some crazy combinations and some ideas that I never thought I would put on the table, but here we are.
I have some ideas. I have lists right now with Guilliman and Repulsor Executioners in them, that I actively want to go back, buy and paint so I can put on the table. I'm like, this is kind of cool. So yeah, really lots of cool things today. So today we are doing a tier list of every army in the game. If you're new to the Art of War channel, please give us a like, a share, a comment, subscribe. All the YouTube buzzwords actually help us grow. It helps Quentin eat lunch today. We're gonna need to see some super chats before Quentin gets his pub sub, but we will reward him if you do. Of course, if you're not new to the channel and still haven't liked and shared and subscribed and commented, well, we would also like you to do that because we appreciate you and we also appreciate paying rent. And really, we're trying to make as much new content about the new game as possible. If you want to see even more of that amazing new content, make sure you check out the Art of War 40k, The Worm. And that's theworm.vhx.tv.
Yeah.
It's the link in the description below. You can even get a free 3-day trial right now.
If you want to watch a bunch of games and hear our takes, there's a whole bunch of games in there right now. We're releasing them basically every day. And then every single faction is getting a little video or state of the factions talking about our thoughts, our expert thoughts on what changed and how to move forward.
Absolutely. Yesterday, we already put out Astra Militarum and Space Marines, 2 of the hot armies in the game right now. I was excited about both. But we're going to have 2 factions coming out every single day with a state of the faction video until we are done.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Quinton, let's talk about how we are going to be ranking all of these factions today. So what's the criteria we're going to be using?
So I think we should be using these factions, for us specifically, is what is the highest peak of the faction played by the best player of that faction. So what is the ultimate pinnacle that this faction can achieve?
Yep. Yeah, so luckily we don't really have win rates right now. So we're not going to use those.
Yeah.
We weren't really anyways, but now we are extra special not going to use win rates because we do not have them. So we're going to be ranking this on where we believe these are at, especially based on, as you said, assuming a top player, a faction expert is the one piloting the faction. So if we think that an army is difficult to play, but a really good, say, Genestealer Cult pilot can get more out of the army proportionally than average, that's going to factor in.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're also going to be saving all these lovely super chats until the end of the video so we can get through all the list, rank every army in the game, and then we're going to go through all these wonderful super chats. And we very much appreciate you.
Yeah, they're really appreciated. Unfortunately, if we answer them all in the middle, the video becomes long and kind of bloated.
If you super chat a Black Templar comment in the middle of Black Templars,
we might answer that one.
You might get us. You might catch us slipping. But a Tyranid question in the middle of a guard, we're probably going to save that one for the end.
Yes.
All right. So We are, I think, ready to kick this off, right?
Kick it off, yeah.
Okay. So we're starting this off with Adeptus Custodes.
Adeptus Custodes.
Old Adeptus Custodes. So they objectively only got buffs.
They did.
They were kind of living in the mid. They were very much a middle of the road army.
Very okay.
Yeah, they were fine. I do not think they're bad.
Do you know the myth of like Atlas holding up the world?
Yeah.
It's just Wardens holding up the Custodes Codex.
Yeah, Wardens or Caladius. Those are the two options, right? There's definitely a meme we could make in 30 seconds that accurately expresses this. We do see some points decreases to Custodes. They objectively got 0 nerfs in a world where I would say there were more nerfs than buffs across the scope of the game.
Agreed, yeah.
And then they got some minor buffs. I think that the bike change is just like probably on the outside looking in of interesting, but it's at least interesting enough that I would take it to a tournament if I was a Custodes main.
Yes.
But I would not be surprised if after I took it to one event, I was like, this was fun. I'm glad I dusted these models off, put the last highlight on, but now they're going back on the shelf.
Yeah. I think Custodes are very okay.
Yeah.
I think the worst part of Custodes is I've heard a lot of Custodes players just say that their faction's kind of boring right now. They just kind of like walk at you, and they're kind of durable.
Yep.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
there are worse faction identities, but there's better ones.
Yeah.
So I do think that Custodes have slightly more play now than it looks like they do.
Yeah.
I have a sneaky suspicion that the Custodes Dreadnought data sheets are actually pretty good.
I agree.
I think that, so it's been a while for me, but it's always tempting. I think that you could very easily justify a Custodes list that was very light on infantry and had more than 6 Dreadnoughts and several Caladius, because the Contemptor chassis going down 10 points on a couple of them, at that point, honestly, I think it's the right price. I think you can take it at the current price. I think you should take it.
The Contemptor standing back up.
I think that's crazy. I think that's
crazy.
I feel like
it's like full health, right?
It's D6 wounds.
D6 wounds. So, okay.
I would take 3 of those.
I don't know. I don't know. You wouldn't, right?
Yep.
Like, because they're super good.
Yep. Trust me. I miss those Dreadnoughts moving 9 inches. I get it. I played them at 9, but yes, they're slow, but they're just not that expensive.
Yeah, I mean, they're still a Dreadnought, right?
Still a Dreadnought.
Still have some damage 3 combat and like a multi-melta.
Well, the Spear Dreadnought, the Achilles, is not damage 3.
Oh, what does it do?
It's like strength 14 and damage D3 plus 3 or D6 plus 3 or something.
Oh, wow, that's really good.
He hits very hard, and with like sustained 5s potentially.
Oh, wow.
He clonks quite well.
Oh, you get all the rules.
Yeah, gets all the rules. So like it's a very good like ingress and a punt a vehicle thing.
Is it Deep Strike?
No, I don't believe
so. Oh, it just walks on. Okay.
But it just walks on. It's still, they're slow. That's why you need a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. Regardless, where Custodes actually end up, because I would say the standard Custodes builds did not change at all.
Yes.
To me, I mean, this is like lower B, upper C is where we're like floating.
Why don't we put them in B tier now?
Yeah.
With the expectation they'll be at the lower end of B tier.
I would definitely say that they're not going to be the upper end of
They're
B
not
tier.
like abysmal.
No, I think that they're a little bit mono build.
Yeah.
They're a little bit, I do what I do and I don't do much else.
Yes.
And they're not broken enough to like, for that to be a good identity.
No, not at all.
But what they do is not actually bad, I think.
Yeah. If you want to like slap some big burly golden men on the table and run at your opponent and be like pretty tough most of the time and then hit pretty hard when you get there, they're still really good at that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Apparently it's D6 plus 1 damage, not D3 plus 3. But it's
still pretty solid. Yeah.
Still pretty solid. Strength 12 and I think it's Lance. That's it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, that's how it's wounding like T12 on 3s. I remember it wounded T12 on 3s. I remember that, but it's probably, I assume it's Lance now that I'm thinking about it. All right. Custodes, I think lower end of B tier is a reasonable place to end up.
I agree.
Admech. This is a fun one to rank, I think.
Okay, I think Admech are really good.
I think Admech are Admech are actually very good.
Oh, like genuinely like top tier competitive.
Yeah, I think Admech are hard to play.
Very hard to play.
I think Admech are a little slow to play, and I think Admech are very expensive to play.
So I think that's all very true. I think Admech are really one of those factions where if you are a dedicated Admech player and you have the reps and you have the experts and you know exactly when to switch between Conqueror and what is it, Protector, I think?
Yeah, I think Conqueror and Protector are the two.
Yeah. And you like know like Siegs is like the perfect example of like the good Admech player, because it's not just about damage, it's about the move blocks and primary denial and the waves of way too tough infantry.
It also really helps if you can like actually get all the models.
Yes, yeah.
That is very important to being a good Admech player.
If you can,
you got to have the collection.
You can build and paint 35 Skystalkers or whatever it is.
God, crazy! You have to be a machine to do that.
I know.
I think Admech is very solid. They took very minor nerfs and some minor buffs. I think it's like a net side grade of like, oh, okay, I'll take like one less Trax unit, one more of this unit, whatever.
Yeah.
But Admech, I think it with all the new buffs, it hits harder than people remember.
Yes, much harder.
And I think the Skitarii veteran cohort
or Hunter cohort,
Skitarii Hunter cohort, right, is the good stuff.
Well, I mean, it gives your army like -1 to hit across the board and like a lone op strat and like go back into the sky with your bird.
Crazy.
It's
useful.
like,
yeah. But I believe it's genuinely just an A tier army.
100%.
Like I'm not even convinced it's going to be bottom of A tier.
No, I think it's like top or mid A tier.
I think there's a lot of qualifiers to put in Admech, but once you get through the hoop of we are saying a strong top tier player who's experienced with Admech is playing the army. Once you get through those hoops, I think the army actually gives a ton of reward there.
100%.
Watching Richard play with it at DreamHack pre-changes, obviously, I was quite impressed by some of the things he was able to do. It actually put an absolute beating on an Astra Militarum army that will end up on the tier list as well.
Yes.
And I was quite impressed by a lot of the things I saw because I actually hadn't played against Richard's Admech.
No, I mean, just like the sheer volume, like, so the Vanguard have the aura of -1 OC and there's no minimum. So they just like walk up to you and you're like, this objective's mine now.
Yeah, that's I hate that.
Yep.
I hate that. All right. After Admech,
we have Eldari. A faction that is very, very near and dear to my heart.
Yep.
So what changed for Eldari is that we have a lot of units that went down a decent amount. Notably, the tanks, the Corsairs, and the Wraith constructs all went down 5 or 10 points. Cool. And then some of the very unused aspect warriors did too.
And nothing went up.
Nothing went up.
Nothing went up.
Now, mind you, the secret mission change did hurt them quite a bit because they were a faction that really liked taking secret missions.
I believe it.
I don't think your average Eldar list is going to change like super wildly. But I think the Fire Prisms went from being like considerable to legitimately very interesting.
Yeah.
And I think one Falcon is like a great tech piece now, just to have a transport. I've been really enjoying being able to like move Rangers in and out of transports with the reactive move and stuff. It's been quite nice.
Yeah, I think having just like 1 or 2 transports is really strong in almost every army right now.
They definitely like have problems. They don't like do crazy amounts of damage. Their stuff is very fragile and very expensive.
Yeah. You're
really paying for like what are obscenely broken datasheet abilities on like very underwhelming chassis.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a lot of Eldar feels like if you took like a 2001 like Toyota Corolla and put like the best engine you could in, but didn't change like the wheels or the frame or like the transmission or anything. So like Warp Spiders are awesome, but they're like still just elves that are super expensive.
Yeah, the weird balance between the weapon profiles and the datasheet profiles of Eldar is difficult to price correctly.
It really is, yeah. I am hoping in the Eldar book, a lot of the craziness of the data sheets gets toned down and we just get more units.
Yeah, because like your rules and your weapons are on a different level from your defensive profiles.
100%.
On almost everything in the army.
Which like is as it should be.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. But
yeah, I mean like Eldar are supposed to be a like very fast glass cannon army. I don't mean to like get into the weeds of it.
But it also means that if there's a meta that can reach your defensive, reach your actual stats that can like interact with you
just die immediately. And some of the stuff that was there got changed. I mean, like Wolf Jail was like just like an unwinnable matchup. Grey Knights are still a problem though.
Better now? Like
not really.
Unironically, like if they take 3 Thundercav out of the list, is it actually any different at all?
It's not.
Okay.
I think Eldar are a faction that like has a lot of matchups where they win a lot of the time, and then a lot of matchups where they like don't. Like I don't know what Eldar do against like GSC.
I have no idea what that matchup's like. There's a lot of GSC different archetypes right now.
That's true. I think that my fundamental issue though is that like a lot of factions are like, oh, I'm just gonna shoot some hand flamers at you. But the problem is into Eldar, hand flamers are like a real issue. Like, if you're running the Arisen Cult, whatever the index one is.
The index one,
in this one. If you have the unit that, with the super unit, with the guy who's chink in the armor with the exploding 5s, that unit drops down, picks up the full clown brick and 3 squads of aspect warriors with like outbreaking a sweat. And it shows up 3 inches away.
Yeah,
so,
like, what do you do about that,
What do you do about that, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't have an activation to kill it, so you shoot it once, and then it goes back into reserves.
Yep. How are you feeling about like where like tier wise? Because like my take on Eldar is that despite the fact that they got no nerfs,
Yes.
I don't think that they have a great place in the meta right now. I think they're fine, but I firmly believe they're in between the two armies we have down right now, and I'm leaning. I would honestly lean upper B.
So I think Eldar, if you're an experienced player who has the reps, they have a lot of really good abilities and tools. I think they're just lacking in the like something department.
Yep.
I think they're like an upper B faction.
Upper B is where I'm feeling as well. They have a lot of good things, but the criteria here is, great player, experienced Eldar pilot, right? We get Vic out of the chat and onto the table playing Eldar.
Yeah.
You get a Vic level Eldar player. But like, how is that going to do at a tournament against equal or similar level pilots of other armies, right?
So I think
Eldar has to have the skill gap to really win tournaments right now.
I think it's very telling that neither Jack nor I are considering Eldar at all for Worlds because we just believe there are too many matchups that Eldar just can't win.
For me, Sisters and Guard both sound miserable.
Yeah, but Sisters is like tenable.
Is Triple Exorcist actually tenable?
The Triple Exorcist is not, but the Old Celsus was.
Yeah.
The Indirect also ruins Eldar completely.
That is where I'm going with that, yeah.
Yeah. I think they're like an upper B tier faction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think slotting in right there is about where I expect.
Yeah.
All right. Up next. You ready, Quentin?
I am.
After Eldari comes Astra Militarum. Yes. Guard got nerfs. Tank commanders went up. Bulgrin went up. They're lying to you, though, because Guard are just fine.
They're very good. They're very good.
Yes, they are. Astra Militarum, they kind of got like the sneaky buff right before the nerf of the Aquilon datasheet like coming out.
The Aquilons are banana pants.
You haven't gotten to play against me yet.
I haven't, but I've heard and...
Would you like to?
No.
I'm free today. We got an hour.
Aquilons show up, shoot you when they arrive. You shoot them with Overwatch. They immediately spend 2 CP and respawn the same unit, which shoots you when it arrives again. Then they throw a grenade. Then they do an action.
Yeah.
3 inches away.
The Aquilons are phenomenal. The way that you could choose to look at it is that Astra Militarum was a very good army. A A-tier army before was my read on it. And they got Bulgrin hit very hard, not necessarily to the point of unplayable, but hit very hard. You are no longer taking 18 Bulgrin. I don't think that's real. But then they gained the Aquilon datasheet, and then the game shifted around them.
Yeah.
And I think that Guard benefited massively from the game shifting around them, because I think they were, like, you can say Guard got nerfs because Bulgrin went up a lot. The tank commander going up is mostly me joking. Paying 20 points to gain the regiment keyword is completely and totally fine. That's not actually a nerf. It's fine.
Yeah.
So tank commanders are about as good as before. You went up a little bit, you get better rules. I love it. You still take one. I really just don't see how Guard tangibly got any worse than they were a month ago.
And they were one of the best factions.
They were one of the best armies in the game, and everything that was better than Guard did get nerfs.
Yes.
Is how I'm seeing it. So my current inclination is that you essentially look at Guard as just you traded Bulgrin for Aquilons, and then you watched everything get worse. My current inclination is that I would put Guard at the top of A tier. I think the only question is, are they top of A or are they S?
Yeah.
And then if Guard aren't S, who would be?
Yeah. I think Guard are the best or one of the best factions in the game.
Every time an army comes up, I'm going to struggle to put it higher than Guard.
I agree.
I think actually the question is do we think the best army in the game right now is an S tier army or an A tier army?
That's a really good question, though.
Because right now, and I'm open to the arguments, I cannot think of an army that I genuinely believe is better than Guard right now.
No.
I cannot think of one, and we've got 25 options to read through still. Do we think that that's low, like the current only army in S tier, or do we think that's just the upper end of A tier? Because
so it's hard, right? I mean, the question is, I think every time we do this tier list, the gulf between tiers has shrunken significantly.
Yeah.
If you go back to our tier lists from when the edition dropped, we had Eldar and GSC in the top S tier, and then there was this Grand Canyon sized chasm between S and A.
Yeah.
And then like a bigger chasm between A and B, right? But now like a lot of the factions, like we're talking about guard, and then we're going to put factions in D tier, but the factions in D tier can totally just like can play guard.
Not all of them can. But to a better level than they could play against Wraith Knight Eldar. Sure. Yeah. I mean, by that, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, do we think guard is S tier or top, or just the very top of A tier?
Yeah. I think we are in agreement that we both believe guard
is the best faction in the game. Yeah.
Certainly, it's got the strongest argument right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, and take the bias of a guard player, I think that it's top of A because of the game just being better. I actually do think that guard has some difficult or less than easy matchups.
Guard is not a perfect army. There are no perfect armies anymore.
No, there are none. I think so. You're getting the full John bias. Enjoy this and clip it everywhere. I actually think both Tyranids and Space Marines can give guard very difficult games.
No,
you just have to
100%.
You have to do it right.
There are no it used to be that like a faction was just so good that you couldn't beat it. That is no longer the case.
Yeah, I used to walk up to games against Eldar, shake Timmy's hand, and like spend 5 minutes thinking of how to avoid getting memed on by my team for the next hour. Yeah, like I need to make sure I don't lose so badly that I to Timmy's Eldar that I get made fun of for the next month. I'm inclined top of A, but I'm super willing to hear Alone in S.
So I think the real question is just like, do we want to make waves by not having an S tier faction? We could do that. I don't like, because you're right. Guard is the best faction in the game. I don't think it's an S tier faction.
Yeah, I think for now, and we can kind of adjust these as we see.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, the next
Black Templars.
So
the big Crusader spam took a big old nerf.
Yes, a big very nerf. Very big nerf. That list, I think, took too many nerfs to continue to function.
I agree.
The way it was intending to. I think you lost the critical mass and you lost the knowledge, the surprise factor, which I think the surprise factor was real at WTC this 100%. Year. I still quite like Black Templars just as take Space Marines, bolt on Sword Brethren and the Emperor's Champion.
Yeah.
And then like some of your Primaris tanks gain a multi-melta and you lose some points. That's good. I think that honestly, Black Templars are just like Marines and a little better, but I even with the very minor buff to Righteous Crusaders that we got from the stratagem that actually lets your vows work the way that most other things do, I still think that they're just like, oh, good Marines.
Yeah,
like,
I struggle to see Black Templars
inspire me.
Yeah, they're fine.
I think they're B tier.
I agree.
I think they're B tier. I think they...
Yeah.
Do you think they're better than Eldar? We'll sort out the order later.
Yeah.
I think they're vaguely middle-ish of B tier, and we're probably going to just brush over these orders at the end.
I think I would rather play Eldar than Black Templars.
I bet you would, yeah.
Yeah. That's okay, true, sure, yeah.
But,
the Eldar main.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't think that Black Templars are doing anything super uniquely different than other Space Marines right now. They're just good. They're solid, but I'm not in love with anything Black Templars are bringing to the game right now.
No, they just don't do anything.
I actually really wish that I could do the normal point repulsors in there.
Can you not?
You cannot. You can no longer take impulsors, repulsors, and repulsor executioners or gladiators.
Right.
You can only take
the Black Templar version.
The Templar version. And like getting that extra multi-melta is nice, but your repulsor is 20 points more.
Oh my god, 20 points for multi-melta?
20 points more, and it comes with a multi-melta.
It's not worth it.
I agree, but you don't get a choice.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I just think that's how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I quite like Black Templars and like what Sword Brethren bring, but I don't think it differentiates itself.
No, I think this army is also a victim of the fact that like it's just gotten so many nerfs over like a long period of time, and none of them was like that impactful. But it was all death by 1,000 cuts. Watching
the Space Marine nerfs roll in every 3 months for the past like year has just been wild.
They're still super good though.
They're still good. I'm just like not all of these nerfs have made sense.
Yeah,
some of them did. Like Helbrecht going up this patch. I was like,
it was not. No.
What? Like I don't even see Helbrecht in Templar lists anymore.
We should all the Black Templar fans just message Team France and be like, "This is your fault."
It is.
Yeah,
this is Olivier's fault. We'll see if Olivier hops in the chat. Sometimes we see him in here. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Blood Angels.
Off of Templars onto Blood Angels.
So the
new codex.
Yeah, hot kids on the block. I think they're pretty good.
I have a high opinion of Blood Angels right now.
I have been flatlined by Blood Angels multiple times.
Yep. I think that they are quite strong. I think that because like the points changes matter because the back of book points cost for new Sanguinary Guard was too much.
Yeah, and
270 you could still argue is too much, but it's definitely closer than 300 was.
Yes.
I think that the normal Liberator Assault group, Blood Angels,
super good,
is still very strong. I think it's better on certain terrain formats because this is a fast melee infantry go punch army. Like that is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think there's very much the trap that Blood Angels fall into more than any other Space Marine, which is they have so many cool, unique things, and you want them all. I've seen Blood Angel lists where I personally think that 7 characters is too many. And I don't know how many is the right number, but like surely one of these or 2 of these 7 was wrong.
Yeah, I want Astorath and Dante and Mephiston and the Sanguinor and Lamartes and the Sustained Hit 3 Captain.
Any one of those choices sounds reasonable, but every one of them cannot be there.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Blood Angels are going to like ruin the game.
No.
I think they're
good.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're the best Marine faction.
I don't think they are.
No, but they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I think they're probably like a bottom A tier faction.
That's what I'm feeling. I very much want to see how the rest of Blood Angels gets tested. I don't think that we've had enough time to really know what Angelic Host does.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a high opinion of Angelic Host.
Yes.
I am this is big Vanguard Ultramarine bias. When I see the Inceptor go up and back down, it activates the neurons. It makes me happy.
Inceptors are so expensive now.
They are so expensive.
You know whose fault that is, John?
It's James.
Yeah.
James Workshops. My take on Blood Angels is that I think that the army actually does a little bit better if you take slightly less of the big bricks.
I agree.
Because I think actually you just take one Dante and a Sanguinary Guard brick unit and it's okay. And because I think I've tried to write Angelic Host lists, and as soon as you do 2 Sanguard brick, 2 Inceptor bricks,
like out of points.
It's too many. You need one of those bricks gone, and if you're doing Angelic Host, it might as well be not the Inceptors. So, yeah. But that's about where I'm at right now. I think lower end of A is where I'm feeling for Blood Angels.
Yeah, they seem good.
Yep.
Potent changes, but they're good.
Yeah. How about Chaos Demons?
Boy.
Chaos Demons. Chaos Demons.
They are, some of their units are very thick. Some of their units are very cheap. Some of their units are very bad.
Somehow that does not add up to an army that is inspiring me here.
The problem is like, there's no part of Demons that I can look at and be like, that's the issue. That's bad. But like, I've never been impressed with Demons.
It's a weird thing where sometimes an army comes together well and sometimes it doesn't.
I agree.
Because when I look at Demon data sheets, I don't get how the army's not great.
Yeah.
Demons look like they should be good. Now, I have played them against them enough times that I'm not putting them very high on this tier list. I'm sorry. Spoilers.
I think the problem for Demons is that the good armies in the game just kill them too easily.
Yeah.
Like the Great Unclean
I think they
one,
don't do anything while it happens.
They don't do anything, right? Like the Great Unclean one is pretty durable.
Quite.
He's very durable.
Old Rodigus.
But like aside from that, every time I play Demons or I watch Demons get played, the Demon player like does something and their opponent just like holds the trigger down and the Demons go away.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like what happens?
Yeah, it keeps happening. Are we going to see?
I definitely see too, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, great. Just making sure we're on the same page here. Yeah, I think Chaos Demons maybe it's just a problem of in between the first hit and the second hit, the Demons player can't do enough unless they get it all right.
Yeah.
And it's too hard to do that, and good players know what's coming and they can defend against it.
I think also like you're like, oh, I have a 3-inch deep strike, and that's awesome, but there's nothing that's like punishing back there.
Yeah. The 3-inch deep strike is you're out of position to such a degree that I'm going to 3-inch deep strike something back there and then wait a turn and use it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've been scared of someone 3-inch deep striking a ghoul in my backfield to sit there, fire a flamer, and kill 2 rangers. And then I'm like, oh God, how do I turn around if he does that?
And the problem with ghouls is you just charge a rhino at it and it lives there for like 3 turns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's like, sure. Yeah.
Sometimes it one taps the Land Raider, sometimes it does nothing.
Yeah.
I think Chaos Demons, I think that the changes they got were negligible. They were basically non-factors. The Herald on Skull Chariot who gives +1 damage, the Skull Render, Skull Beatboxer, whatever his name was, that guy, he went up. Shalaxi went down by an amount. Beast of Nurgle's going down is adorable. I actually like those, but
they're annoying.
They're very annoying, but I just don't see them escaping C tier. I don't see them. We're in the Chaoses. We're in the Seas.
We are Chaos Knights.
Yeah, I do love me some Chaos Knights. Chaos Knights objectively only got buffs. Some of the big Knights got 10 to 15 points cheaper. None of that matters.
Not in the slightest.
None of that matters whatsoever. The Brigand went down 5, and that means you can now fit a slightly better Chaos Knight list than before.
The Brigand, that's a lot back in a lot of my Death Guard lists now.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you, John. I was having this debate with a Chaos Knight player friend of mine. Okay. How many points before you take 3 Abominants? How many points is an Abominant before you take 3 of them?
Like, unironically, I think it's like 330 or 340.
Yeah. We were saying you'd take 3 if it was sub 1,000.
Yeah, that's like right about there. If it was 340, I would definitely put it on there.
Yeah.
But until then, and even then, I would probably, as someone's saying in the chat, I think I'd do 2 and more dogs.
Yeah, I mean,
like, would I rather have an Abominant or 2 Brigands? Just ignoring points. Would I rather have an Abominant or 2 Brigands?
I think you have 2 Brigands. I think the Brigands are better.
It's. I think it's the Abominant, but if it's not equal points, then you just take the Brigands.
Yeah.
I mean, look. Chaos Knights did not get nerfed while other people got worse. That's a win.
Yep.
And they got the change to the Brigand as the most expensive knight changes the math on how many knights you can bring. It now means that you can take a 13 dog list with 6 Brigands, 6 Carnivores, Stalker with the best enhancement. That is 2k on the nose. Perfect math.
That's exciting.
And then that is something you couldn't do before. Because if you took 6 Brigands before, you not only could not take that enhancement, you also could not take that many knights.
Yeah.
If you took 6 Brigands before, you were capped at 12 knights.
Yeah, I mean, like, the problem with Chaos Knights is that, like, that sounds like a terrifying list sometimes.
It is terrifying sometimes.
It's also 13 models. So, like, Chaos Knights have this issue. The 13 Chaos Knights is absolutely unbeatable. 6 Chaos Knights is not half as good. It's like 20% as good.
Yeah. And as soon as someone can kill 7 Chaos Knights, and then it's like, oh, now you're much worse.
Or if they kill all the Carnivores or all the Brigands, right? If they do one or the other, then the army is like, I can only do things in one phase now.
Yeah, once you're a one-phase army with no fallback rules or rerolls, you're just not. It's just not it.
Great.
Right, like you've seen it. You've seen how Chaos Knights can be super scary, but it's a difficult army to actually play at like top level. Chaos Knights are not an easy army to play well.
No.
Because you are so much just like dancing around this activation is important and has no rerolls. Go.
Every time I shoot or get shot by the thermal cannons off the the demon breath spears.
Wow, Thank you, Quentin.
Yeah. I am like, the game is decided based off these 2 rolls. I hit on 2s and wound on 3s and my opponent does not get a save. Will I kill the Land Raider?
It's just...
Or will I do no damage? Like, we're going to find out.
It's just so... Every result is so realistic.
100%, right?
Everything from 0 to 2 to 3 if you're using a stratagem. Everything from 0 to like 3 is just like that's one of the ways that could go.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense. Yeah. Like, he fired a Brigand at me and it didn't do any damage. I was like, that's one of the options. Yeah. Yep. That sure is a possibility.
Roll a 1 on the hit to wounds and a 2 on the wound, or 1 on the hit and a 2 on a wound. It like just happens.
If Chaos Knights got the Eldar detachment bonus,
I would one of the best armies.
I would love that army so much.
I know.
I would trade, I think, my detachment rule, my army rule, and like your choice, any 3 of my stratagems for that to be my detachment rule.
Yeah, I think
I would trade Knights of Shade for that. Honestly, I would trade every stratagem that's not Knights of Shade for that.
Yeah.
I would trade every core strat for that. Like, just here, please give me a reroll on a Brigand. Any will do.
Yeah.
Just not enough that I'm spending 395 points on a Desecrator.
Yeah, as chat points out, God forbid your opponent has a 5-up invuln in that interaction.
God forbid they're stealthy.
Yeah.
It gets weird sometimes, man. Okay. Chaos Knights have a lot of cool things, but they are just so inconsistent that I struggle to rate them highly.
B tier?
I think upper C.
I get that.
I think
I have never been impressed with them.
I think that they are much better in teams than singles, but we are, since we didn't actually clarify this, primarily ranking singles here.
Yeah, I mean, also there's also the chance that you walk up to your opponent and you're just like, man, my opponent did bring enough anti-tank.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, my opponent brought 1 unit of Volgons.
Yep.
Like,
there are ways that you can just hit a bad matchup in singles, and it's just like, oh no, my life has ended.
yes.
My city burns around me. Yeah.
Okay.
Chaos
Chaos
Space
Space Marines.
This is a difficult one to rank.
Very.
A Cursed Cultist got hit twice, which surprised me.
Yes.
I think they only needed it once. But a lot of little things got better.
Yeah.
Like,
Abaddon
Havocs
went
are
down.
cheaper now.
Havocs are... I struggle to say Havocs are good.
They're not.
But
they're not bad.
They're not bad. They're not abysmal.
No.
They're merely okay.
I like that Chaos Space Marines still feel like they have a ton of build options.
Yes.
I still think that a Cursed Cultist can be justified taking like maybe even 2 units of. I think the price makes 3 a little tough to swallow, but if someone did, I wouldn't be like offended.
I mean, I have been really enjoying my like pack-bound Abaddon capsule list with some Vindicators and some Legionnaires.
That's still really strong.
That list went down.
It's good Warhammer.
Really good. Liam VSL won LGT with a list that went down in points.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I think Chaos Space Marines, when played to a high level, are genuine. Like, the damage is insane. The damage is crazy. I was playing my friends, and he moved Canis Rex in front of my army, and he was like, I'm going to shoot your Vindicator. And I was like, hold on, before I do that, I'm going to fire Overwatch. And I was like, oh, I got 8 shots. And then I got 10 hits. Because I sustained hits in full rerolls.
And next Abaddon,
Next Abaddon. And then I was like, well, it's 8 wounds, and he failed him, and Canis Rex died.
The damage potential of Chaos Space Marines is still insane.
Yeah.
I think they're quite a strong army. I don't think they're crazy.
No. They have real issues. They're very expensive, and you're playing the game with like 2 tanks, Abaddon, who's 3 Terminators glued together, and then like 2 squads of Legionnaires and Rhinos. Like,
yeah, that's if you do that way. You can. I do like though that genuinely Chaos Space Marines has so many detachments that several of them are viable.
100%. I don't think any of them are crazy though.
None of them are insane.
I think they're about as good as Blood Angels.
I was gonna ask, Blood Angels is the crux. Do you think they're better or worse than Blood Angels? They're very much similar to me.
I think they are like just ever so slightly better than Blood Angels.
Think better.
Think better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean it's like
very slight.
It's like 49 and 51.
Yeah.
Like it's like
very close.
Like if you came up to me with like a 3-page paper about why Blood Angels are better than CSM, I'd be like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I'd read it.
Yeah.
All right. Dark Angels.
I'm gonna let you take this one, John.
Yeah. Dark Angels technically got nerfed. I get it. I think Dark Angels were very good. I think they were an army that was much better than its statistics indicated. Because you have the strengths of Space Marines, which are relatively a hard to play faction, I think. And then you staple on the Deathwing Knight datasheet, which goes a little bit towards mitigating your weak spots. Because Codex Space Marine's biggest weakness is like hitting people in combat somehow, because GW took every single Space Marine combat datasheet at the start of the edition and made them bad, which offends the senses. Like there just isn't, like the best melee unit in Codex Space Marines is 5 Assault Intercessors with a captain.
Hilarious.
Cool. Sure, I guess. Great, thanks. But Dark Angels supplement that super well. For the record, when we're ranking Space Marine chapters, I should mention, we are willing to put them in the Codex detachments here. 100%. Yes. And I think that Dark Angels really did not suffer much.
No.
My list went up 125 points. That is more than I would have preferred. But like the things I can cut to get there aren't unreasonable. I have multiple Dark Angel lists that I'm at now where I'm just like, yeah, this is a pretty good Dark Angel list still.
Yeah, and like you got some drops in some of the rare units to like.
Yeah. The Ravenwing Command Squad went down. It's adorable, but fine. I genuinely believe Dark Angels are still the best Space Marine chapter, first of all.
Yeah. I mean, Deathwing Knights are crazy.
Deathwing Knights are great. They went up. They deserve to go up. That's fine. You still take 3. I am not cutting a Deathwing Knight unit. I am not even pretending to cut a Deathwing Knight unit. It's 15 points. It's 15 points. Like, I'll find something else to do.
Yeah.
Something else is going to get cut.
Did they go up 5 for 5?
They went up 15 per 5.
Okay.
So it's 45 points up for 3 units, but I'm just okay with that. It's like, oh, dang, you got me. Scouts are gone.
Yeah.
You win. I have turned 1 squad of Incursors into Scouts to fit this 3rd unit in. Like, it's okay. I cut a JPI unit because they also went up. Yeah. A lot of Dark Angel lists can just like look at their old list and say, all right, you got me. I cut a JPI unit. Send. That's fine. In a world where other top armies, most of them got worse.
Yes.
Most. I really don't see a downside.
No,
I think Dark Angels are still the best one. I still think Dark Angels in the Gladius is the best Space Marine build. It's something that I am very much going to put an A tier here.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I think they're below guard, better than Admech probably.
Yep. I think they slot right in there.
Yep.
I just really think Dark Angels, they still do the same thing as before at the level we're ranking here.
Yes.
Because what the Gladius does is the Gladius gives the Space Marine player an incredible suite of ability to make decisions and options. It does not make anything free, right? The Gladius is not just like, here, do the thing and it's obvious, but it gives you options to do what you need to do at the time. And so good players do very well with the Gladius. I think Dark Angels complement the Gladius better than anything else. And so when you marry them together, you get an army that is a little more difficult to play at top end than it looks. Personal opinion, strong bias.
I agree with that.
But it's very solid.
Yes.
And it did not get worse more than Sisters or T-Sons, the armies that we put ahead of it last time.
Yeah.
Because last time we did this, I put T-Sons and Sisters ahead of Dark Angels and nothing else. Both those armies got worse. Dark Angels also got worse. The power level slid down. They were S tier before. Now they're in the upper end of A. Yeah, they got nerfs. They're still really good. I would be more than happy to send Dark Angels to the event right now. I would not even hesitate.
100%.
Like they're so good still. All right,
Okay.
this one's you.
One that I am genuinely very excited about.
We're getting there.
For the first time in like a year.
For the first time in forever.
For the first? Yeah. Forever. If you can get copyrighted, it's right there. Is Death Guard. And I want to give a shout out to the Disgusting Resilient podcast, which is in the chat here. Excellent Death Guard podcast.
Excellent.
So what changed for Death Guard? Well, the game came down around them, which they always really like.
That matters.
And then we got some very hefty drops to the Terminators, Mortarion, and then like Chaos Knight Brigands were the kind of the three like big ones that were notable.
For sure.
Also things like Beast and Nurgle, which are helpful. But I mean, like the two that really matter is Death Shroud at 220.
What were they before? Just
I think they were 240. Okay. They were 240 or 230. They came down a significant amount. They were already like pretty good.
they're pretty cheap, yeah.
They're pretty cheap. They are so cheap now. You can take 18 of them for 660.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
that's just crazy.
They're wild.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, Mortarion. I have a lot of issues with the Mortarion datasheet as it is.
Yeah.
I think he should be 150 points more expensive and do like way more. But it's really hard to argue if you like cover up the Primarch keyword and then like look at the rest of his datasheet.
Yeah.
Like if you ignore Mortarion and Angron.
And he's like 100 points more than a Demon Prince.
Yeah.
With an enhancement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like screw it.
He's like 50 points more than Demon Prince with an enhancement.
Okay.
He's 300 points for 16 wounds, toughness 12, 2 up, 4 up, 5 up, feel no pain.
Yep.
He doesn't hit in combat, but he's not a slouch in combat, right? His shooting is okay. His auras are genuinely very good. Like, he's crazy.
Of the Demon Primarchs, there is only one who I am extremely comfortable charging with a Maleceptor.
Yes, that is true. I mean, like, okay, he has issues, but he's also, like, not that much more expensive than the Maleceptor.
He's closer than I'd like to admit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like the same cost as, like, a Land Raider.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
He's 15 points more than a Redeemer. Like, yeah, it's great, right?
The fact is you can take Mortarion and 18 Death Shroud and still have more than half of your army left.
Yeah, that's 960.
Yeah.
You do have 1,040 left.
Yeah, I mean, Jack and I are writing lists with like, it's like a bunch of trash. Like you have like 6 units of trash, Mortarion, and then like 28 Terminators. And you just like, you beat every combat army in the game. Because if they charge...
Every?
Yeah.
Bet.
What beats them?
I still bet on Dark Angels.
I think Death Guard would take Dark Angels and pump them into the next dimension.
All right. We'll find out together,
We'll
won't
find
we?
out together, yeah.
Click, clack, dirt nap time. Okay.
We'll see. But no, I mean, like, I think they still have issues, right? Like, I'm talking about how awesome that list is. The list still moves 4 inches.
Yeah.
That is a real issue. If your opponent has a bunch of damage 3 shooting, they can sit at checks notes 16.1 inches away. And you can't do anything about that. But like, if a melee army charges you, you can be -2 to hit, -1 to wound, -2 damage.
Yep.
Which is the point that, like, I don't know, some 8-bound to charge you and you lose like 1 Terminator and then kill them all and keep moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think they're...
Actually, though, T6 -1 damage Terminator is like the worst thing for me to charge.
Yeah. No. Like like we meme about like Dark Angels are better, I think, holistically, but like the interaction of Deathwing Knights charge Death Shroud, and then you hit me on 4s, wound me on 4s, and I got a 4-up save for 1 damage, and then I swing back and I hit you on 2s and wound you on 2s, re-rolling, and you get a 4-up save for 2 damage.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, the ignore mods part of that
the ignore mods,
massive.
Yeah, so like what happens actually is that Deathwing Knights charge Death Shroud, I lose one guy, I swing back, I kill your unit, and I keep moving. In that one, like you're way faster than I am, you have more shooting than I do, but like in that one interaction, like I think Death Guard have a lot of play, and I think they're really good. I struggle to see them competing into like the absolute top of the meta. I think like Guard and Sisters and T-Stones are still going to give them a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But I think they like destroy World Eaters.
Yeah, these changes are probably putting them right over that line.
Yeah.
So where are we feeling for Death Guard? We're having a crowded A tier right now, and I see a lot of armies left that I wanted in A tier.
I agree.
We're gonna have to reorder this at some point.
I agree. I think bottom A tier, top of B tier. I think they're better than Eldar.
Definitely.
I put them around Blood Angel CSM, like in that little, probably
here.
I think they're worse than CSM.
I think they're like
I think
this
they're better
ballpark.
they're better than Blood
Okay.
Angels. Yeah.
I can endorse that. The changes to Death Guard seem quite strong,
Yeah.
and you've started to get them on the table and have been quite excited to play with them.
Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, on our first game of testing with Death Guard, the game went so lopsided we had to scrap it and re-record the game because it was not releasable.
And that was in Death Guard favor.
So days it was, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's where we're going to put Death Guard for now. And we are now on to Drukhari.
Yes.
Oh, the dark.
Oh, boy.
I wish Skari was here.
I really do too.
Yeah, Hurricane Milton put a pinch on that one.
He was supposed to come and then the hurricane came. And
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to be here either, though.
No.
So, Drukhari, everyone who's watching this is likely aware of where we put Drukhari last time, when we put Drukhari as one of the worst armies in the game, despite having, at the time, a top 2 or 3 win rate in the game. I feel like Drukhari still has the same problems, and now it has less points to solve them.
I thought Drukhari were abysmal before, and they got nerfed.
They got very noticeable nerfs. They took some points hits. So Drukhari has some interactions that I think are nice because they just like tell you what to do. That's one of the things I like about the way that Drukhari has cool things, is that the rule tells you exactly what to do. I mentioned earlier that I think that Dark Angels, for example, give the player a lot of options but don't make it obvious what you should do.
Yeah.
I think Drukhari does a great job of telling you what to do, because your rule is not Lance for a CP. It's Lance when you get out of a transport. Your rule on the datasheet is then get back in the transport. Or the stratagem, get back in the transport. The rules of the Sky Splinter tell you get out of the transport, hit people, get back in the transport.
Yep.
And the army stops working as soon as you kill the transports, because then there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
They have less stuff than before. And I think they have all the same problems.
Yep.
And they still run into in my opinion, the top player off problem.
Yes.
Where when it's top player versus top player,
The one playing Drukhari will always lose.
not always,
But most of them.
more
More
often than
not.
everyone we're going to
Yeah.
put above them.
My favorite issue with Drukhari is, okay, John,
Favorite.
yes. I want to present to you one issue. Okay. You have in your bank account 3 units of Scourges that you can use. And your opponent moves into the center of the table, and this is the only thing you can see, 1 Rhino with nothing inside.
Just empty Rhino.
Just an empty Rhino.
Yeah.
How many squads of Scourges do you step out to shoot that Rhino on an objective?
And this is, do you want me to tell the punchline or you want to do it?
Oh, you can do it. Yeah.
Okay. The problem here is that Scourges can fade after they fire, but they do have to fire in order to fade. So if you step out 1 Scourge unit and you shoot and don't kill the Rhino lives and is on the objective. If you step out 2 Scourge units and the first one kills the Rhino, it fades and the other one does not fire. And then it therefore doesn't fade. And then your opponent's like, oh, cool, a Scourge unit in the open. A Stormbolter, you're dead.
Yeah.
And if you bring out 3, the exact same thing could happen, but you're risking more, but you're more likely to kill the Rhino. You have to find ways to see other things. You have to...
Yeah.
Right. It's a complicated problem. There's often a solution at the table.
So they're totally, like, in practice, it's less of an issue.
Yes.
But, like, theory-wise,
It's something.
yeah.
I mean, here's my favorite math problem, because I don't play Drukhari. What if I step out multiple things and then I pop smoke on one of them?
I mean,
That'd be crazy, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
That'd be wild. Or counterpoint, what if I stip some things out and they have the monster and or infantry keyword and or a save? Unlucky, right?
I got shot by a Drukhari army yesterday, and I lost a grand total of 2 Terminators. Yeah.
That's rough, man.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a low opinion of Drukhari right now. And that does not... And credit to the game, I think we are at a point where we can have the worst army in the game still not be terrible.
No.
And we can still have good players, like our Archon Skari. I will not say a bad thing about that man, that Archon, that elf.
He just won a GT, went 6-0 with Skari, with Drukhari like 3 days ago.
Yeah, 48 hours ago, Skari's winning a GT. But it will not save them from being put in to C tier.
Yeah.
I don't think they're D tier.
They're not.
I don't think they're
I
D
think
tier.
for the same reason that we don't have an S tier, I think we should have a D tier.
Yeah.
I don't think
Drukhari can
win.
beat armies that we have in A tier.
Yeah.
I think Drukhari can beat armies like Blood Angels and Dark Angels and Chaos Space Marines and like armies in A tier.
100%.
Yes, Skari is gonna dislike this. Sorry, Skari. But I just still, the problems that Drukhari have had feel magnified.
I agree.
And I feel like they were incredibly overrated before, because I don't think Drukhari won that GT. I think Skari won that GT.
100%.
And I think those are actually different statements.
I agree.
Sometimes that's how it is. And like really though, like I think Drukhari have like actively bad matchups into way too much of the field for a, we get top players of every faction, put them all in the same thing, right? We get to World Championships of Warhammer. You do it a 30-person invitational, one of every faction. I think Drukhari are at the bottom of that list.
I agree.
Yeah, and God help you if you play against Aquilons.
Yeah, where do you start?
Where the Scourge is gonna go? Where Scourges? It's like, oh, cool. The guard player screened out, so you can't deep striker than 24 of a vehicle. When they land, they die. Okay.
Yeah.
Ingress 1 unit. Okay. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
Could not care less. Screen off the table. Why not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have up next is Vanilla Space Marines, which pretty much leaves Ultramarines.
Yep.
But could technically include things like Salamanders, Raven Guard, Imperial Fists. Yeah.
Yeah. We're ranking Ultramarines. Ultramarines are the best Space Marine chapter. It's not even close.
You know who's actually the best Space Marine chapter?
Is it John McCardell?
It's John McCardell with the 20 Ardor memberships.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your support, John. You are a hero of the chapter. If any of you just got gifted a sub from John, make sure that you accept it. John, you're a hero. Thank you so much. We always love seeing you in the chat. You are the best.
Yes.
However, Space Marines.
Yes, Space Marines.
John McCardell is so dreamy. I've met the man. He's dreamy. I have a much higher opinion of Space Marines than the average person. You are getting, right, like we know what the old win rate was, and Space Marines kind of got nerfed somehow. Like win rate wise, Space Marines used to be the worst army in the game. Giant asterisk. I still believe, and I'll give the same spiel every 3 months, I believe Space Marines are much, much better than their win rate, because Space Marines have a chapter problem.
Yeah.
Where if Dark Angels / Black Templars / Blood Angels / Space Wolves, if one of those is slightly better than Codex Space Marines, then every player who is trying to play a fully optimal list will not go under the Codex Space Marine category. Mm-hmm. And so the only players who will report statistically as Codex Space Marines are people who made a conscious decision of, I could play Dark Angels, but I would prefer to play a suboptimal chapter.
Yeah.
And that does not, so Space Marines are going to end up below Dark Angels. That's fine. That does not mean Space Marines are like wildly below Dark Angels, in my opinion.
I think Ultramarines are genuinely quite good. Calgar and Ventress are both outstanding characters.
They are insanely good characters. The Ventress buff for Ultramarines, it is massive. I already had a very high opinion of Space Marines, and now we are just ranking Ultramarines. Yeah. Because Ultramarines are no contest, no holds barred, the best of the Codex chapters.
Yeah, would you like one unique character, or would you like 12 unique characters?
Also, the 3 best characters in the book are all Ultramarines.
Is it Guilliman, Ventress, and Calgar? Yeah.
Because Guilliman at 65 points cheaper.
He went down 65 points.
He's cheaper than Mortarion now. He's the same cost as Land Raider Redeemer. He's 285.
He is not terrible.
For what is essentially plus 10 CP that don't count towards your cap.
Yeah.
That is really affordable.
Yeah.
We're at the point where
he also kick flips anything in combat.
A lot of things, yes.
Yeah.
I unironically have Guilliman in some list right now.
Yeah.
We've already seen Vanguard Ultramarine win an event over the weekend. It's a hard army to play, but Ultramarines and therefore Space Marines, in my opinion, are quite good, in my opinion.
100%.
I think that they're like upper B tier.
Yeah.
I actually prefer access to those data sheets to access to Templar data sheets if I'm running a Gladius.
No, I agree.
And I think that the Gladius is still the way to run most Space Marines right now. The other alternative within Codex Space Marines is Vanguard, which is by far at its strongest with Ultramarines, because Ventress is an actual mandatory aspect of that list, as is Calgar, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, like, really, when we're talking about Space Marines, what we're actually ranking is, like, the unique units.
Yeah.
It's just which chapters have the unique units. Because if you're going to run just, like, Crimson Fists or whatever, like a chapter that doesn't have a unique character. I don't know if Pedro Cantor's Legends or
Pedro
not.
Cantor has rules, but, like Vulcan,
sure,
Ironfather Pharaohs. It's just worse.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, like, would you rather have A or all of A plus B?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I think Ultramarines, the characters that they add are the only thing that gives a unique dimension to Codex Space Marines.
Yeah.
Because just saying I have another type of captain is not enough. No. You need CP generation. You need more free stratagems. You need combat. You need Vect. You need deep strike on things that don't get it. Yeah. Right? Advance in charge on things that don't normally get it. Mm-hmm. All of that actively matters. And you just can't get that with Salamanders and Iron Hands and White Scars.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Oh my.
I would love to see GW fix this problem, but right now we're ranking it as the best, not the bottom of Space Marines. I think they're better.
Pretty good, though.
Yeah, he is pretty good. Yep. He's not better than Calgar.
No.
And he's also not better than Ventress, and he's also not better than Guilliman.
No.
I think Space Marines are better, are actually top of B tier at the moment. Genuinely think Ultramarines are insanely good. Like, considering taking Ultramarines to Worlds again because it would be funny and because I don't think it's the wrong choice.
They're very solid.
Yeah. Like, Space Marines are hard to play, but that does not mean they're bad. No. On to the next.
Grey Knights.
Grey Knights. Grey Knights good.
They're quite good.
They got points decreases on 5-man Terminators only and nothing else.
Sure. They're the same.
Yeah.
They were good before.
They're lower A, upper B.
Yeah, they're solid.
They're here or they're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think they're better than Codex Space Marines? I'm not even sure they are.
No, I don't think so. I think Ultramarines are better.
Yeah. I do as well.
Yeah.
Man, to have all of the Ultramarines already painted. Yeah. Unfortunately, Space Marines, every time they do an update, I have to go buy 500 more points and paint it. God knows, I picked a fast scheme at least.
Yes.
All right.
Just 8 colors.
Let's talk about the actual really improved armies here.
Okay.
Genestealer Cults.
Oh boy, this army.
They were on the rise. Then they got significant points decreases.
So they got in it was a random FAQ. They got what was actually an insane buff.
Yes.
Which is instead of having to have your cult ambush units appear in the next county and then hitchhike to the game, they can just appear in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fake.
Yeah. And they just got crazy points drops. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they're very good.
I think they're
A tier good.
I agree. I think that Genestealer Cult is another army that is hard to play, and I think it's going to skate by with once we get stats, which we don't have right now, and this is just speculation. I think Genestealer Cult is going to skate by with a lower win rate than they should have.
Yes.
Because the army is still very not going to hold your hand if you mess up.
Yep.
If you leave your crutches at home, you're going to have a bad day.
Yep.
However, I quite like where GSC are at. I quite like the fact that it feels like there are multiple detachments you can take with GSC.
I mean, the Arisen, whatever was the Awakened Cults?
The Index, Arisen Cults, Ascended, Arisen Ascension.
Whatever that one is called.
Sure.
And then Biopsychic Cult's really good.
Yep. And then Outlander Claw.
Yeah, it's all the
three of those.
Yeah, all really good.
Yeah, I think Brood Brothers is still just sad.
Yeah.
And then the Xeno Creed. Sadly, the two that I've played games with are the two that I'm just I just don't like this at all.
I mean, I think they're better than Death Guard.
You think in upper, middle of A?
Mid A tier. I think GSC are very good.
They might be better than CSM.
I actually probably are. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, what a
host of Ascension. Thank you, chat.
Thank you. Yeah. So anyway, the Ascended Ascenders are I think middle of. Color me shocked. Also, I think what the real point here, honest to God, is that armies that look bad usually have more than they think.
Yes.
I think that they still are going to be held down by a couple of matchups. I personally think that GSC is going to struggle with Astra Militarum mightily.
Agreed.
I do not know what the game plan is when the Scions, like, beep, beep.
Hello. Yeah.
Like, right, because you can just, like, you can 9-inch screen the table with Astra Militarum, not with particular difficulty.
No.
And you are killing
like,
infantry the whole time it's happening.
You're like, here's my 1 Chimera, here's my 5 Catachans to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can very much sneeze on GSC infantry to get them killed. They don't have to commit to it at all. They have tough units, like conventional tough units, which GSC kind of hates.
Yes. GSC really hates being like, yeah, I'm toughness 11 with 13 wounds and a 2 up save. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, just like, thunk. I am thick end in cover.
Yeah.
I am behind a wall of Catachan. How will you deal?
Yeah. Also, I shoot you back.
Of course I shoot you back. Would never stop shooting them back. And I think that the inconsistencies of GSC are also going to hold them back because I have very much heard the lamentation of the cult ambush rolls.
Yes.
Like, I can't believe it. Everything I killed on battle round 2 and 3 came back to life. I didn't pass a cult ambush roll until bottom of 5. Like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that rule should be changed, not because it's like super broken, but just because it so feels bad.
It feels so terrible.
It should be that like you get either a certain number of units or a certain amount of points back. Like you get 2 units back every turn or something like that. Instead of
something.
50-50, who knows? Will you get all 15 aberrants back 3 times or will you get nothing back? Who knows?
Yeah, right. Like I've heard the horror stories of like, well, he only had 15 in the list, but I killed 35 aberrants today. I'm like, how is this even mathematically possible? Like, how? How could you do that?
I think the thing that really gets me is if they deep strike something down and you shoot an Overwatch and they hit the 4+, it goes back immediately in the same spot.
Does it actually?
Yes.
That's adorable.
I know.
Mad respect for that. Okay. That's so funny.
It is.
All right. Respect. Okay. I'm quite happy with GSC though in A tier.
Yeah.
Wild turn of events, but I've been very impressed by watching the GSC community. Some of those players,
really,
Nick, Ryan Verbeck, Innes, Eric Lathuris. There's plenty of good GSC players who I think they all took a little bit of time to figure out what was in the book because on first read there was not much, but some small buffs that were bigger than we thought, rolling right into points drops. Good army.
Yeah.
All right. Agents of the Imperium.
Okay. I have a spiel about agents, and you've played a game with them.
I have played a game with them.
Agents are the worst army in the game, but they are a real army. Yep. They are not a meme.
Yep.
Like, before the Codex, agents were like, we didn't rank them because they like weren't a thing. You could like legally take them, but it wasn't like a thing.
You just take your no detachment army and go home. Sure.
I have played several games against Imperial agents. My win rate is not 100%. And the games that I have won have been like contested real games.
Yep.
The army is made of nonsense, ridiculous tricks. You get like all the assassins and they're all crazy. Subductors at 85 that infiltrate are still absolutely banana lambs. And then you have Canis Rex. Yeah. Like the army is like a real functional army. It has serious flaws. Mm-hmm. Not going to say it doesn't, but you can play it. Like, shout out to Charlie Blowers who took agents and went like 5-3, almost going 6-2 at Crucible. Yeah.
I respect agents.
Yeah.
Do they have to be the worst army in the game? Like they probably are objectively.
I mean, like,
I think winning an event with agents is harder than any other army.
I agree. I mean, like, I really think that like going 3-2 is like very reasonable. Yeah.
I would expect a winning record if I took agents to a GG.
Yeah, I mean, like the Deathwatch Kill Team squad is pretty good. The Subductors are crazy. I forget the exact combos, but like the Voidsman plus a bunch of the random Inquisitors also like do more damage than you'd expect.
Navigator plus Voidsman, like the Rogue Trader entourage.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. The Naval Breachers plus that is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a lot of like random nonsense, but it's like, here's my grenade. I throw it at 18 inches.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of little things.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you compare agents to the other C tier armies, because I think they're in C, not Delta, not D tier.
No.
I think that they have the biggest problem of they don't have good data sheets to punch up.
Yes.
Because agents has real killing a large thing problem.
No, like a land raider is like a real issue.
Yes, but they're quite good at scoring until you physically table them. They will score points.
Yeah,
they can do very good at
tabling them
OC.
is like harder
and it
than you
takes a
expect.
while. They have a lot of stuff that's
And
a
it's
little
all
tougher.
really tough.
Yeah, tougher than it should be. It's not like real tough, but it's
No.
very fake tough of like, well, you can't kill 22 of these guys and you only killed 14 of them. So my objective, nerd.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God, stop.
We're going to a team tournament, Jack and I, and we are 100% unironically taking agents as like a real army that we want to do a specific thing.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that so much. Good.
Yeah.
I think that compared to the armies like Drukhari, Chaos Demons, Chaos Knights, I think they have the lowest potential to punch up and beat the A tier armies.
100%.
And that's where they're going to be at the bottom.
Yeah. Like, I don't know
But-
where agents beats Dark Angel Gladius, but like,
Honestly, if the Dark Angel Gladius player just like makes 2 mistakes,
that's true. I mean, if you just walk onto the center,
but if it's top end versus top end.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you disrespectfully walk onto the center, agents could unironically and probably would win that game.
I mean, the real wounds on those voids. There's so many bullets.
It's so many bullets.
The Electromeister.
Yeah, you battle shock the knights 3 times and they're like, cool, no armor of contempt. Click, clack, die.
Yeah. A squad with all the guns gets ignores cover +1 AP and just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like after you get battle shocked and you don't get to AOC, you unironically kill multiple Deathwing Knights in one activation.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. Then here's a grenade. Do you want to watch her? Fine. Here's a tank shock. Here's a charge. You're dead.
Yeah. And then Canis Rex was just walking around like picking you up. Yeah. I don't know.
Yep.
Speaking of Canis Rex, who just went up,
Imperial Knights.
Imperial Knights.
Why did Canis Rex go up in points?
I don't know, man.
Objectively, Knights got both buffs and nerfs. However, that's a lie. They didn't. They got a nerf to Canis Rex and that's it.
I mean, the
buffs were just, they're fake. It doesn't matter.
terrible Knights went from being awful to still awful.
No, they went to bad. The errant is no longer awful. It is now bad.
Yeah.
Whee!
Yeah.
Like, no one cares. You still take Canis. You now have to find 20 more points in your list. Hopefully, you're not taking that out of agents because some of your agent options went up. But
Yeah,
I mean, do you do one Subductor squad, one, like, Voidsman? Like, ugh.
I don't know.
Ugh.
And they're not good. They have real issues.
Yeah.
Okay, also, hot take, Knights don't shoot that hard.
Their guns are good into the right profiles, and they'll feel like they shoot hard. But because they don't have very many options, if you don't line up well, then they no longer shoot hard.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not like they didn't get options of what guns they brought. They brought the ones on the 3 models they're playing.
yeah.
And if you are the wrong army for those guns, they can't be like, well, at least I invested in
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've been shot by like the one thermal cannon and not lost a tank too many times.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I respect Brian enough to put this army in the bottom. They are undoubtedly in the bottom 3. I could argue anywhere from like here to here. Are they worse than Drukhari? I think yes.
I think so.
I think so.
I think with the nurse they are. Are they worse than agents? They might actually be worse than agents.
Yeah.
I think they are. I think they are.
It's such a sad commentary because you can still win with Knights.
Yeah.
You know, our hero Brian, champion of the Imperial Knights, and to be clear, not just Brian.
Yeah.
But people can take Knights and do well. Again, no one is going in D tier here. But
Yes.
it's not great.
No.
It's not looking good
They're
for the
not
Knights.
good.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, Knights are a novelty army right now.
Yeah, they're really not good.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little League of Votann action, shall we?
Leagues of Votann for a
They
very
sure
long
did
time
change.
have been very vanilla.
They still are.
If you want to like go and get like a pint of Haagen-Dazs vanilla, play Leagues of Votann. They have stats.
Yep.
Those stats shoot with normal buffs that are explained in page 1 of the core rulebook.
Yep.
And they don't do anything else.
That might be my favorite diss I've heard today.
Yeah.
Their rules are explained on page 1 of the core rulebook.
I mean, it's true, right? Like,
You're not wrong.
yeah.
You're not wrong.
They're like, okay at that.
Yeah.
They're not like making waves. They're not bad. They're like a upper B tier faction. I don't know.
I think upper B tier is exactly
I think
where
they're
they live.
better than Eldar, worse than Grey Knights.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yep. They got cheaper on 5-man Hearth Guard, which I think are good.
Yeah.
They got 10 points more on Jaegers, which is probably fair.
Yeah.
They were a pretty good army before. They had some strong team options. In singles, they are genuinely just fine. Certain terrain formats they do better than others because they are, a nice, honest, I scout and I shoot and I play honest Warhammer.
Yeah.
And they also, like some Space Marine chapters, compliment you and reward you for being good at the game and planning things out. But I find them to be much easier to pre-measure.
Very much so.
Than Space Marines. Once the game starts, if both players hit battle round 2 in a perfectly reasonable spot, a good opponent can get around Votann from that page so much easier than Space Marines.
Votann's damage is also violently swingy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've seen the Sagittars where, like, I rolled 2 6s, I rolled 8 hits, and I killed your Land Raider. And I've also seen them shoot 3 and not kill, like, a squad of cultists. Like,
yeah. And it's so many times have I just seen Votann just like, oh man, not a turn of no rerolls and slightly below average 3s, anything but that.
Yeah. Also,
oh man, I rolled 10 dice and none of them were 6s and only 7 of them were 3-ups. That wasn't enough.
Also, like, God forbid your opponent has 4 tough things and the last one just doesn't have judgment tokens.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do against Votann when I play Tyranids is everyone marks the 2 Exocrines and Old One Eyes unit every time. And then the Exocrines that I deploy on the line walk forward. I just walk Exocrines at them. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to just walk out and shoot me on 4s? Fine, I feel no pain and I shoot you back.
Yeah.
You're right, the Exocrines got 1 kill.
Yeah.
Now it's like it doesn't help. It's...
Yeah.
That's Votann are a very good army. I like where they're at. They do not need any nerfs or really many buffs. They honestly just need like a codex and 3 more data sheets and another detachment or 2. Just to be more flavorful.
I really think, like...
Yeah, just
Votann,
a good Fairhammer.
And then go back to Drukhari. I think both those armies could really use like a couple more detachments or a couple more data sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Necrons.
I think Crons are still good.
I agree. I think Hypercrypt is good.
Yep.
I think Awakened Dynasty is good.
Hypercrypt took a big nerf in secret missions that's not immediately like on face value obvious.
Yes.
Because they were very much an army that enjoyed those.
Not being able to just like score 35 points reliably on primary and turn 5 every game because you deep struck the Silent King 3.1 inches away from your opponent.
Yep. You got to send the monolith into the backfield.
Yeah.
Hypercrypt still very much feels like the best option here. There were buffs to the Triarch detachment. I don't know if those actually matter or not. I don't think they do, but...
I mean, the Silent King got the rules.
He gets to use the rules of detachment. I don't think that...
I mean, I think it's not going to matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Necrons are going to like be like... They're not, they're old. Like, the olds come off the core builds like one of the West in the game. But like, they're
I
good.
feel like Hypercrypt guns is still quite good. It just has some problems of... There's like 5 or 6 damage activations, and if they fall over, you're in a really bad spot.
Yeah, I mean, the Doomsday arc is just like...
Going down 10 points is amazing for that.
The problem is like that gun is so unreliable.
Yeah, it's D6 plus 1 shots.
Yeah, it's just like, is it 2 shots or 7? Like,
and would you rather ignore mods or heavy rolls? I've seen Doomsday arcs do some suboptimal things.
Yeah, I mean, like, we saw one Doom Scythe fly on and kill Magnus from Folded Dead.
Yeah, got that one on camera. But
yay, DreamHack. I don't know. I think they're like about where Votann is.
I think they're a little better. I have them as like, but like they're ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I was gonna go like here.
That makes sense. Check that out.
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah,
I think they're good. I think that the Hypercrypt, like Silent King and a Monolith or 2 and 2 DDAs, I think the list is, again, better in teams than singles. It just sometimes runs into the problem that you cannot solve of I shot my guns and it didn't go great and I didn't have a good backup plan. You can deliver the guns, but you don't have that much trash in addition. Like once you take, Silent King, 2 Monolith, 2 DDAs, that only went up 30 points. That 5 package of 5, that went up 30 points. Not a big deal.
You have some like death marks and some flayed ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like the scoring units like actively do not contribute to the game.
No, they are
nothing.
They like shoot your opponent and heal them.
Yeah. Honestly, you might as well. Right? Like it's as effective as like trying to battle shot Custodes. Like it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crons, I think upper B tier. I could argue for lower A, but I think upper B is
tier.
Totally reasonable. Yeah. Let's talk Orkies.
Orks
Orks got nothing but buffs. And another army that right at the end of the last update looked like it was starting to come together as like a maybe this has a plan after all.
Yeah, I mean, so I think Orks did not change their fundamental game plan.
Nope.
But I think they are better at doing what they were trying to do. The wah happening at the start of the battle round, so if your opponent goes first, they can just like back up.
I've never seen this in my life.
I mean, like,
but I know it does happen 50% of the time.
Orks really want to go first, like all the time.
So badly.
Like, and that's a real problem because you go first in half your games.
Mm-hmm. It's a very bad consistency army for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, like, their damage is really good until it's not, right? Like, they have a lot of really, like, knobs are like, wow, they're super awesome, but they're like AP2 damage too. So if you just hit like something with armor contempt and -1 damage, they just like don't do that much. But you get a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow, you get a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the points decreases were noticeable. They also, all of the like control the primary in the middle of the board for most of the game armies liked the secret mission nerf.
Yes.
Because the Orks were an army that even normies would take secret missions against.
Yes.
It's like, well, I'm definitely tabling you by bottom of 5. So
yeah, because like the Orks move up, you kill some of their stuff. They call Wah, you back up and kill more of their stuff. The Orks are not bad, you push into them on 3, you score your primary 4-5, you win the game.
Yep, that's the plan. I think Orks are in a perfectly fine place.
Yeah.
But they did not elevate as much as GSC did,
No, I don't think they're like GSC are like terrifying now. I think Orks are like, they're just very swingy.
All right, I'm thinking lower half of B or upper C.
I think they
anywhere
are
in between Eldar and Chaos Knights.
Yeah. I think they are between Eldar and Votann.
Really? You think they're better than Eldar?
I think better than Eldar.
Better than Eldar. Yeah. Okay.
You get a lot of stuff. I mean, like, it's
You do get a lot of stuff.
partially my Eldar bias. Like, Eldar, they're kind of the opposite, where I think Orks have a lot of bad stuff. Eldar have too few good things. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you really do not get a lot of stuff with Eldar.
It's true.
Like, you really just don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have a slightly lower opinion of
Orks.
because really I think Orks are worse than Templars.
That's fair. I mean, we could bump them down.
What if we did that? Oh, the Eldar slipping towards the bottom of B and he doesn't like it.
It's not even that. I think Eldar are better than Templars.
But I think Templars are better than Orks.
Okay, so why don't we just move...
This is like a rock, paper, scissors.
I know. Let's move Orks below Templars and call it a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just debating like shades of gray at this point. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Shades of green.
Yeah.
Wog.
Wog.
All right. Here you go.
Sisters of Battle, which should have been labeled Adeptus Custodes. They would fit into the alphabetical scheme.
No.
They took a pretty big nerf. My list went up 100. Allegedly. So my list went up 185 points.
Whoop-de-doo.
And then Jack and I went for a walk and we talked about it. And we came back inside with a list that is, I kid you not, I think legitimately and unironically just better than the one I was running before.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. So happy for you.
If you gave me the two lists in a vacuum, points costs remove, I think I would pick the one I just wrote instead of the one that I had been playing that had 185 extra points. Now, part of that is me making some list writing errors and I trimmed some fat, but like my sister's list had like 60 points of like random nonsense that I just did not need and did not value.
Yeah.
I had like a walking Dialogos who never did anything and she got cut. Like, who cares? The Seraphim brick that was underperforming, that was overcosted, that I was going to cut anyways, just became Celestine.
Yep.
And we moved on.
And you added 3 exorcists?
I did not do that.
How many?
That was 0. That list is my old list.
Okay.
Sans Seraphim plus Celestine. But also, like, I wrote a list. The moment I got the nerfs, that was 3 exorcists, 3 castigators, the Volgon, some trash, and 2 immolators.
That sounds really good to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's to play into that?
No one wants to.
I think Guard can.
They can.
Yeah.
If I was in a team format, I would choose not to every day of the week, though.
Yeah, I mean...
If it's singles, I'll play what's in front of me, but like... I think of the top armies, despite the points gaps you could look at as like, again, Dark Angels, T Sun, Sisters, they each received this many points to the optimal list.
Yeah.
Sisters took the biggest points hit and yet feel the best position.
So I think the answer is the fact that Sisters they were on their first nerf.
Yeah.
So they still had a lot of the like backup fallback options to go to.
They really do.
Right? Like how did Exorcists not go up? How are they still 190? That thing is crazy. Right? Like I was bracing for the Castigator to go up 20 to 30 points. And I was like, if it goes up 20, I still keep 3. If it goes up 30, maybe go down to 2. And then it went
10.
up 10, and I was like,
Just jokes and memes.
okay. And then like the Battle Sisters went down. So like I was gonna
That was crazy to me. Why did they get into Eldar nerf?
So I was going to cut a squad of Dominions for a squad of Battle Sisters literally anyways. And I just like was like, oh cool, okay. Get 10 extra points back, I guess.
I like Battle Sister squads. I was we talked about it before.
Yeah. I think some Dominions get cut for some Battle Sisters. I think I should have done that before. But I'm definitely gonna do it now.
Definitely gonna do it now.
I don't know.
I think the Exorcist version is better than no Exorcist, but like you're still just looking at very good Sisters army right now.
Yeah, I mean like the Volgons are like a war crime every time I play them. That unit is bananas.
Yep.
It like kills people's entire armies.
So, I mean, Sisters is the army that I could argue is better than Guard. I am leaning towards Guard is better at the moment.
I think so.
But I'm not like, oh, Guard is better than Sisters. And for the record, I could see moving both of these up.
Okay. So
like I could see them just take these two and slot them both up.
None of the rest of the factions are going to intrude in their little.
I don't think anyone else is making a serious argument for S tier from this point forward.
It's those two factions.
Those are the two that are making the argument. And I think they're going up together. Because I don't believe that Guard is only thing in its tier.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
I can see them going up together.
I agree.
I don't think it's one.
Guard and Sisters are very similar in power level right now.
Yes.
I really think we could. Let's move up to S tier.
Yep.
I think we Guard Sisters like that. Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I get so mad every time I think about the changes to Sisters. It's like, come on. Yeah, and I would believe that Guard beats Sisters maybe more than half the time.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that it's a Guard do beat Sisters.
No. I think it's like Guard beats Sisters like 58% of the time.
Exorcists are just awkward. Like if you just like one good Exorcist activation can kill
a Leman Russ. They're just my problem with Exorcists is like I'm not saying Exorcists are bad. I'm saying Exorcists can be swingy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I could see you having a game where you rolled some bad shot counts and rerolls and no rerolls, just like the Exorcists were good, but they didn't do enough. I can see that.
They're also very great mainline battle tanks. Because you're like, I need to kill you. I'm going to step out, hit you on threes, then shoot a 100 killer missile.
Yeah, maybe at strength 11.
Yeah.
God help me if you... Yeah, the Exorcist swings out into line of sight, sees the Exocrine. It's like, cool, I went from 4s and 4s to 3s and 3s. Bang.
Yeah. Oh, I'm AP4, ignore cover. First two that go through a flat 12 damage.
Yeah. I think those two armies in S tier feels right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Because I do love my Dark Angels. I do think that they are both noticeably better into the field than Dark Angels, even though I rate Dark Angels quite highly and I would still play them to a super major. I think it's those two.
Chat points out that the Exorcist is a Doomsday Arc with indirect.
Pretty much.
It kind of is, yeah.
Yeah, not the strength 14, but like
close. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Space Wolves.
All right. Space Wolves. So, Space Wolves objectively took hits. The Thundercav went up.
Yes.
A noticeable amount, and that is a real hit to like the Wolf Jail style list.
Yeah.
I think the Champions of Russ is a little bit better than before, but not crazy. But it's a little better than before, and I think it was actually better than perceived before.
I think Champions is quite good.
Yeah, I think it's good. And I think Wolf Jail is still solid. I think Space Wolves have dropped, but I don't think that they're like actually bad yet or anything to that effect. I'm inclined to put them like very near Blood Angels.
I think that's exactly where I'd have them. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah,
like there. Yeah.
I think Blood Angels are better, but I don't think it's crazy.
No.
Yeah. I'm glad Thundercav got nerfed. They deserved that so much.
Yes.
They were way too cheap. But I don't think that Wolves are just crazy. I just think Wolf Jail is really good.
Yeah.
However, if we start looking at the meta, I could also still see Wolf Jail being the best Space Wolf list.
It probably
where you
is.
just say, hey, it's like the Dark Angel list, right? It went up 120-ish points. You cut something. Maybe you cut 3 Thundercav and you are running 6/6/3 with characters. Maybe you cut 1 character and a downgrade and incur, a JPI to a scout. Maybe that's what, like, okay.
Yeah, I think my issue with Space Wolves, right, is that like if you're playing Dark Angels, you can play into pretty much whatever, right? with some difficulty, we complained, whatever. If you're playing Space Wolves and you're like, man, I played Eldar and I ran him through, and then I played Genestealer Cult and I ran him through, and then I played World Eaters and I died.
Yeah. The consistency of Space Wolves concerns me.
Because all of their buffs are like, I am invincible to shooting, but I fold like a wet pancake to combat.
Where they're a good combat army, they're not a great combat army. And so into another combat army, it's just like,
They lose to every combat fight. Like every combat on combat.
Yeah, they always get to hit first, which is awesome, but most of the combat armies can beat them up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they're right where they are. They were upper A before. I think they're still in A. They're just lower down. Yeah, it's fine. We only have 4 armies left.
I know.
Powering through here. So
Tau Empire.
We've seen Tau become they became popular, then they kind of faded, then they're becoming more popular again.
Yeah.
I've seen a resurgence
in the Ret cadre.
Retaliation cadre.
Dude, crisis suits are so cheap.
Yeah.
A squad of crisis suits is like 110 points.
Yeah, they're just not expensive.
Wild.
The first place I saw the Retaliation cadre kind of come up was in actually like the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Was where I started to see it kind of get popular, and it's just grown. It's just grown. And I think it's quite solid again.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can still look at the Callion and Montcalm play styles. They're not really that different from what they were before, but I think the Retaliation cadre is probably the best one right now.
I think so.
And
I mean, like Jack is writing lists where it's like he has like 6 units of suits and still an army.
Yeah, you can afford to.
Yeah.
Right. Riptides went up like 10. Some things went down a little bit. Whatever, right?
I think they're an A tier.
I think they're the lower end of it.
I agree.
I would agree. I think they're
better than Death Guard Blood Angel Space Wolves. But like between CSM, I think
you're thinking like right there?
Right there, yeah.
The middle of A tier sounds about right to me.
There, yeah.
So I think that Tau have very much benefited more from people diving deep than from actual rules changes.
I agree. Yeah.
I think that this is just a case of it took a while to figure out Tau, and that some people tried some good things that were obvious early, and they missed the harder to play, less obvious, more different play style, better things.
Agreed.
And the army's just rising up as people are developing it more.
Yeah.
Just like GSC over a longer term, and they started at a better place, but then they didn't get as many buffs.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't think it's the Groot hunting pack, though. I'm sorry.
Not, no.
I don't think it's that, but I want it to be. I really want it to be. Thousand Suns?
Thousand Suns.
Only took nerfs, not massive ones. It's just that this army was insanely broken and has been small nerfed 3 times with a small buff in the middle for no reason.
The problem with Thousand Suns is that at the end of the day, they are Magnus, 2 big funny rhinos, and 20 tactical marines.
Yeah.
Like the army is made of like air, but that air is coming at you like gale force.
Yeah, there's mortals on the wind.
Yeah.
It's crazy how the dynamic of T-Suns is.
I know.
It's like honestly, it feels like the last 10th edition Index army.
Yeah.
It's the last army from that Index era. They've just pointed it to the point where it's not what it used to be, because you are so light on material. You are so on the edge of I don't have enough stuff. But what you have is just insane.
Yeah.
Right? I've said it before. And yes, dust on the wind. When Thousand Suns operate the way that the T-Suns player wants to, it's the best army in the game.
100%.
But as every update, they lose 50 points, and a small change make it a little aspect of the army a little bit worse.
Do you know what I feel like? I feel like Thousand Suns players are like in their like wizard tower building this giant copper orrery where everything is perfect and suspended by tiny like little silver filaments. And if that thing is spinning, it will like delete the galaxy next door. But if you walk in and you just like kick it right down, it just falls over and does nothing.
Yeah, if you can get there without getting hit by the orrery of mortals. Yeah. To me, that puts T-Suns at the lower end of A tier.
I agree. Yeah.
Like they are still a good army.
I mean, when they work, they are unbeatable. When they don't, they're better than Death Guard.
Are they like parking here, or are they a little lower?
I think they're better than Death Guard.
I suspect they might not be.
18 Terminators for 660 is like crazy.
Yeah, like the material is just every update, the material difference. Like the rules are way better in T-Suns, but the material difference is just slipping.
We've gotten to the point where T-Suns are much better than Death Guard. Like on like a rubric is better than a Plague Marine. But you really do get, I agree with that. You really do get like twice as much Death Guard stuff.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, you just do.
Yeah. I mean, like, Magnus is better in he is tougher, fights harder, shoots harder, and buffs better than Mortarion.
Mm-hmm.
but he is also 165 points more expensive.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Tyranids are beloved.
Yes, Tyranids. All right, Tyranid Discord. Get ready. Well, Tyranids were in A tier before, and they didn't take any nerfs. So, guess what? I think Tyranids are very hard to play.
Yes.
And when you get it right, they are so much better than people think.
Yeah.
I love Tyranids. Tyranids I actually love in the mythical, made up, only top players of each army versus top players of each army fantasy world that we have constructed for this tier list.
Yes.
I actually love Tyranids in that because Tyranids do something no one else does. They throw the cards in the air.
Yeah.
Like, Battle Shock's unreliable. Correct. Take 3, please.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Battle Shock's a bad mechanic. Well, you're still rolling dice, so no rerolls. Tell me what happened. I think NIDs are really good. I think
100%.
that NIDs have a good, strong backbone of what the army is. They have genuinely 3 detachments that are actively good. I think that of their 6 Tyranid detachments, I think one of them is awful. Swarm.
Yeah.
Swarm is awful.
Unending
And
Swarm?
Unending Swarm is terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because you can't bring Infinite back to life anymore.
You can't bring Infinite back to life. You only Blood Surge once instead of every time you get shot.
And the...
Yeah, no.
yeah, Color Horde also. Yeah.
I think it's bad. However, I believe Tyranids have a great foundation of strong things they're doing, and then they just insert the random aspect that gives them the chance to beat the other armies.
Yeah.
I think Tyranids also have fairly solid matchups into every army that is leadership 7 across the board. Let's do
Sisters,
a count.
notably. Yeah.
Guard, Sisters, not you. Admech, GSC, kind of CSM. Tau,
No.
not Death Guard, not Blood Angels. T-Stones are leadership 6, but they despise Battle Shock.
Yes.
I don't actually like the Space Wolf matchup that much.
Yep.
Then you look at, all right, just Battle Shock sometimes messes up half of these top armies.
Yep.
And then we look at what else do Tyranids do well? They kill elite infantry really well. Let's look at the people we haven't talked about yet. Dark Angels, Chaos Space Marines,
Tau.
Death Guard. Oh.
It's also all suits, right? They're like 4 wounds, toughness 5, 3 saves.
Yeah, you just click, hold down the Execree Normaliceptor button
Yeah.
and just scream.
You know what kills 28 Terminators at astounding speed?
Stationary Execreens? Yeah.
Take 5 saves if it fails to dead.
Yep.
Kills 3. Oh, next one shoots.
Yeah, just click, hold down the button.
Yeah.
I think Tyranids are genuinely very good.
I agree.
I think that they have one absolutely massive problem.
Which is?
Sisters.
Yes. I don't even know where you begin.
I think with Tyranids, I can beat, not do beat. I think I can beat anything in A and S tier. Sisters is the one that scares me.
I mean, yeah. The Autopass Battle Shocks is big.
Yeah, the one that matters, you can Miracle Dice.
Yep.
Miracle Dice into
Armor
damage
Contempt
into
to save. Volgons are actually kind of annoying for you to kill. Because they're 4 wounds. So
Yep.
the
Yeah,
damage.
it takes a little more effort than I
and
want.
they kill you so fast.
They do. There are real, genuine problems there.
Yeah.
I still think Tyranids are an upper
Very
half
good.
of A tier.
I fully agree.
I think they're better than GSE.
Yeah, I agree.
Crazy that we've got 2 hive mind in the top 6 for where
Yeah.
this edition has been, but I think we're there.
What a tier list.
We're gonna have to do the Admech. We have
Yeah.
one more army. Let's just slap it down. World leaders.
I don't like them.
You don't rate them right now?
Not really.
You think the points changes were a little too much?
I mean, I just think they're just very okay.
I think they've dropped.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony Fenella on World Leaders is still absolutely terrifying.
100%. That still can win events.
Yes.
And be a very good team's asset, I hope.
The problem with World Leaders is you're like, oh, I lost 2 extra 8 bound in this activation. I'm tabled now.
They have real problems, honestly.
Yeah.
They have the real problems. I think that the meta is also shifting around them in ways that are less favorable.
Yeah.
I think adding Aquilons and Exorcists to the meta are both actively bad for World Leaders.
Agreed.
And so mostly singles meta, I think is getting more and more hostile for World Leaders army that took not massive, but noticeable points increases. World Leaders, they're not fundamentally changing anything, right? You're just taking one unit that was good and making it something worse, or you're dropping one small unit.
Yep.
But that's what you do with the data sheets available because there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
And you see small change to Blood Surge on Khorne Berserkers that didn't help. I think that World Leaders get worse less than some of the other top armies, but not enough that that the pecking order changed.
Yeah.
And then I think it's a more hostile environment for them out there in singles, right?
I agree.
I played against world leaders, and like there isn't an Aquilon answer.
No, not even.
There isn't.
The
Like,
8-bound
you
run
do
up.
not have enough material to leave real resources on your home objective, and whatever you leave there is dead because you can't screen the table.
I mean, even more than that. Oh, this unit of 6 8-bound ran up. The Aquilon's rapid ingress 3 inches away in a U. Now you can't charge.
Yep. Yeah. It's and again, Exorcist. What are you gonna? If you try to stage behind walls against Sisters, you're gonna lose too much material waiting because the Sisters player is gonna give you one turn of fine. You're right. I don't want to be in the middle. I'm gonna shoot 3 Exorcists at you and only give you the cheapest of bare minimums to charge.
Yeah, here's 2 5-man battle sister squads with bolters.
Okay, you got them. Or if you kill them, you're in the open and the Cascaders have something to do. Otherwise, it's 2 consecutive turns of Exorcist shooting before you activate your axes.
Yes.
And that's too many.
Yeah.
You can't take 2 turns of that. Like, I like World Eaters, but I think they've tipped the point of there's 1 or 2 too many things above them that have gotten better that are hostile.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
this is where we are at right now. We have a crowded A and B tier. Notably, C is larger than S. I'm not mad about where any of these things ended up. I don't think anyone belongs in D tier. I think GW has done a good job of that.
I mean, we've spent a long time talking about, do we need anything in S tier, right?
I think that those 2 armies are above.
I think you're right. I think you're right. But like, we had that discussion, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I've come around. Mm-hmm. I know I started in the Garden 8 camp, but I think that those 2 are noticeably better.
Yeah.
Looking with an A tier, Admech feels a little high,
I agree.
but I'm not sure who should be above it.
I think we drop it down to below Tyranids, below GSC. Yeah. I think
it's better.
I think it's there.
I think it's there, yeah.
Yeah.
Tyranids feel like a little high here,
I agree.
but I don't know who to put above them.
We could move them back below Admech. No, I don't know.
We could talk.
Yeah. What a tier list.
Like I feel like we have like 10 armies here that are all like middle of A. I think Dark Angels are better than everyone below them.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have like a 6-way tie, and I feel uncomfortable putting anyone as second in A tier here.
No, I think we have this issue, right? Where that like, it used to be there was such a large stratification between armies, but now it's like,
balance is kind of good.
I mean, like anything, I think everything in A and B tier is probably like fine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like the armies in B tier are like still good, right? Like Eldar are a lower B tier faction in the back half of the game. Yeah. I still think they're a good faction.
Yeah.
Like, I would play them to an event.
Yeah. I mean, right? Like this Orks are objectively better than the version of Orks that just got second at LGT.
Yeah.
Most of the game is capable of competing for a super major title right now.
100%.
Most of it.
I genuinely believe everything except for the bottom 4 armies could win a super major.
5.
Bottom 5, sure. Everything
bottom 5.
Everything outside of C tier.
Yeah. If we're looking at like would shock me if it won it, I would bump Custodes down too, because I think Custodes are more limited on matchups.
Do you want to move Custodes into C tier? I think so. I think we do. Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Yeah. So that's our final tier list.
I think so. I think that's a final. So this is where we're calling it right now for
take your
today.
Screenshots, everybody.
I think we're at the screenshot point. If you want to complain about the tier list, this is what you can see.
So try and look for
There we go. So in case anyone was curious, I'm gonna actually pull up last time's tier list.
Ooh, how exciting.
Do a little comparison here. So this is where we're at right now, and I just kind of want to talk about how I think that the latest update, I don't think it massively actually changed the game. This is where we were.
Yes.
This is where we saw it beforehand. This was the Art of War tier list. I think there's different people on. And so I'm sure, we probably disagree on 1 or 2 things. But that isn't that far off.
No, I mean, like, so what changed? Like, I think
Death Guard and GSC just catapulted.
Yeah, I really think those are the 2 biggest beneficiaries of the nerf.
Yep.
Oh, one thing I totally forgot to mention with Death Guard is the way that sticky objectives works now changed. So now if you sticky an objective, it's infected for the rest of the game. So if you like walk onto it, you can use your good strats, which is actually a big change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, which is nice.
Because before you just like never got to use them.
Yeah. And then this is where we're at now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some, some of this is just like the disagreements of like people within the house.
Yeah.
But
And,
a
like-
couple armies rose up. I think Death Guard. I think I missed that Death Guard was such a big winner. But I think you're reading it correctly. To be clear, I missed that on my analysis.
No, I mean, like it really truly felt like before this, 18 Terminators was like a niche build you could like maybe take in teams. I think now it's so cheap that like you just start there and you can add your army around it, right?
Why not, right?
Yeah.
It's priced to move. Do they have to have a character attached to get the rule?
They do, but the characters are also like 70 points.
Okay, fair
And
enough.
they're all good.
Yeah,
So, like,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is a final tier list.
Yeah, I agree.
So thank
Wanna
you.
hit those super chats?
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and go read some super chats for a little bit. First up, though, thank you so much, everyone who stayed with us, watched, liked, enjoyed, subscribed, commented. All of you, we appreciate that. It really helps Quentin eat lunch. And it also helps us grow the channel, produce more amazing 40k content. And if you want to see even more of that Warhammer content, make sure you go to thewarroom.vhx.tv. It's actually a link in the description below if you don't want to listen to that. And you can even get a free 3-day trial if you want to see us play multiple games with the new meta in the War Room. As a matter of fact, we have another game that's releasing as soon as I stop this one, because we have another game going live today that actually includes the new Astra Militarum. Go find out if there's a reason we put them in S tier. And there's a lot of good things in the War Room, including State of the Factions for every army in the game. Yes. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We're going to go ahead and look through all these super chats. We really appreciate your support. And here we go.
Woo.
Ta-da. All right, let's.
One of the top chat, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. It's fan funding.
Fan funding, yeah.
That's the button. There we go. We found it. We figured this out. All right, so start at the top. Thank you so much. The first super chat is from Catchy. Ironstorm with Storm Speeder and Ballistus spam. Is it viable? Yes. I think that the Ballistus
are very cheap.
Ballistus and the Hammer Strikes and the Thunder Strikes all getting cheaper is actively noticeable. I think it's quite potent. I am super tempted by that. The Hammer Strike went down 25. The Ballistus went down 10. That means they're 125 and 130. Hammer Strike with the Ironstorm reroll is just helpful for getting those melta things in there. And then you're just handing people, the Ballistus guns with ignores cover.
Yep.
And that's just really strong right now.
Yep.
So yes, Catchy, I believe that is actually viable. Next is Swishores with a quick question. With the Flying Hive Tyrant getting a points reduction, do you think or have any general rules for how to use them in Invasion Fleet specifically? Yeah, I think that the Flying Hive Tyrant in Invasion Fleet is very good as a late game brawler. You really want to get value out of the free stratagems that he provides. And so keeping him flying around the edges doing skirmish fights, not just jamming up the middle, even with his Feel No Pain enhancement, which he presumably will have, is good, but it's better to take him slow. I do the same thing with my Walking Hive Tyrant. I prefer the walking one, but the Flying Hive Tyrant getting cheaper makes a strong argument. And just zipping around the edges, picking combats, and then coming out late when it's just a little inconvenient to deal with him as the last few monsters on the table are on all the objectives. That's why I like to use my Tyrants and Tyranids.
Yep. Zenth with a 5 super chat. Rice and beans for the Quintin Lunch Throne. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Next is Colt Hun with a $10 super chat. We appreciate you. My partner and I play all the time and wanted to go to a tournament. She's in a wheelchair and our games are long as I help her play. Is it okay to go or would it be too much of an inconvenience? I think that it is 100% okay to go.
Yes.
A lot of the Warhammer community, I won't promise everyone, but a lot are very wonderful, understanding people who are willing to be patient or help. I would say that the best way to prepare, I think, would be to maybe pick the army accordingly. Make sure it's an army that your partner is comfortable with, something that they can play at a time frame they're comfortable with. And you could always do a practice game, right?
Yep.
Look at your local RTT, ask the TO, hey, how long are the rounds usually? And then do a game at home. Just see how realistic it is to play a game in 3 hours or whatever the case may be. But I think that a lot of hobbyists and a lot of gamers would be very friendly, welcome, accommodating, understanding all the good words you would want.
Yeah.
And so I would say it's absolutely worth the time. And I don't believe that you're not an inconvenience to anyone. Being yourself is never an inconvenience to anyone.
Agreed. I think one thing also is don't feel that like if you go to a tournament that you're not legally mandated to be there for the whole day, right? Yeah. Like if you want to go and then like I really enjoy going to tournaments to like talk to people for the hour before the
100%.
round starts. And then maybe I want to play a game and if I'm not feeling it, I can leave. So you can always just keep that in mind.
Yeah, if you played 2 games and, decided you want to go do something for dinner, that's okay too.
Do that instead. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Scott Nagao is hitting something on the super chat. This is the Quintin Pink Hair Return Fund.
Okay, I have so many thoughts on this. The TLDR is that I kind of want to do it. I kind of miss it. but it's so much work to keep up, John.
I get it.
It's like just so much work.
I mean, there's not even a shimmer of pink in there anymore.
I need to get a haircut soon, and it will be completely brown by then.
I remember those days.
I know,
been a while.
It's been like 3 years.
More than 3.
Yeah.
But that was like, because you had the dyed hair when I met you after COVID. Quinn and I were friends before COVID.
Yeah, because I dyed it during COVID lockdown because like a board, and I was like, I'm not going to see anyone.
And I didn't see you for a few years before that.
Yeah.
And then Quentin with bright hair. That's all I knew.
I mean, it's been like 3 or 4 years since I've had it dyed.
Yeah.
Ryan G was looking at an 18 Def Coptos in Cult of Speed. They actually get a good strat support until I realized that 5 out of 6 stratagems don't allow you to stack them on one unit. Yep. What is this detachment?
I think that they were a little bit afraid of that detachment being broken because so weirdly enough, GW seems scared of names.
Yes.
Like with Release Crusher Stampede, they went out of their way to make it the most limited of them because Crusher Stampede was broken.
Yes.
Ignoring the fact that these were different rules in a different edition.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't matter that it has the same name, but Speed Freaks was broken Orks, and so I think they were a little more intentional with stopping stacking buffs.
Yeah.
Specifically because of what Freebooter like Speedwog used to do.
Before, yeah.
Fair enough.
I think they didn't want, oh my god, buggies are good again.
Yeah. Crusher Stampede's broken again. Can't let that happen. Morgan Timpey with his $2 super chat. Agents are S tier. How do you counter them if they're so OP? You know, Morgan, you got to switch off of Knights.
Yeah.
That's the answer. You got to switch off of Knights. That's it. Michael Allen with his $5 super chat. Nerf Skari, not Drukhari. If we could nerf Skari, we would. Yeah. But unfortunately, Skari's inflicting pain on all of his coven.
Someone must stop that man.
Someone has to stop him. Canadians, you have to stop Skari if your Drukhari friends are going to live. Sloppy Bile Piper.
Bile Typer.
C tier Chaos Knights. Oh, just started CK. Yeah, even though we put them there, I still... Like, I'm playing a game with Chaos Knights later today. I still think that they can punch up better than others. They just have a consistency problem that keeps... I think power-wise, they're as good as most of B tier.
Yeah.
They just have a big consistency problem that is very hard to play around other than by playing preventative scared Warhammer.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the important thing you have to take away from this thing is that, like, the C tier armies can beat even the S tier armies if there's a skill gap, right? If the games go well.
Mm-hmm.
I really just think these are, like, and these are also like our high table rankings. Like if we were to do a ranking based off playing against people who are in like, the 3 and 2 bracket, the 2 and 3 bracket, the rankings might look very different.
Yeah, honestly, like the way that I internalize this ranking is if we take one player of each faction and they're all the best possible pilot of that faction and they play what's the final rankings?
Yeah, it looks something like
this. And
this
is the guess.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I don't think Chaos Knights are like actually bad. I think that they can beat a lot of things, but I think that they have more problems and they're less likely to win this theoretical 26 elite event than the armies that are above them.
We should do this event, like for real.
I would love to find a way to do it.
I know.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Faisal Aslan. Welcome to the Worm Gold. We appreciate you.
We skipped some.
I think we skipped 2. Yep.
Yeah.
Lorenzo is here.
Yeah.
And Lorenzo with the super chat. I need to add a reliable anti-tank unit to Champions of Rust. Lancers get dwarfed by invulnerable saves. Any alternative? It should do 12 wounds in a turn.
Vindicator?
Other than melee, I was just going to say add 3 Ballistas.
Oh, that's a great choice.
Just 3 Ballistas. Yeah. Instead of 2 Lancers, do 3 Ballistas. Because 3 Ballistas is 390 and 2 Lancers is like 320.
They're also really good at just standing there being big dumb idiots.
They're good at not being blast, so if you tag them, they are not useless. They aren't great, but they're not useless if they get tagged.
Yeah. I mean, also just 3 of them, it's 330, so you just or it's 390.
390, yeah.
390
each, yeah.
Yeah, so you just sit there and you just shoot people, and sometimes they miss, and that's okay, and then you just keep doing it.
Yep. Yeah. At least you're projecting the threat. Ryan G with the super chat. Also, the Foot Autarch is viable now.
He is.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I'd agree completely. Then we're on to Stephen Horowitz, who's been a member for the Worm Gold for 29 months. Thank you so much, Stephen. You should go for a bell curve of S to D armies, so that the top 2 to 3 factions of the game are by definition S tier. Otherwise, why bother having 5 tiers? Well, frankly, it's because sometimes we think armies actually are just awful and don't have redeeming qualities. We have had Genestealer Cult and Death Guard and those kind of armies in these tiers before.
Yeah, I want to reserve D tier for
you got to be bad.
To some extent for S tier too, for just armies that are just truly abysmally terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Even Knights and Agents and Drukhari have redeeming qualities and cool root units. So,
D tier is like you're wasting your time tier.
Yeah.
And none of the armies in the game right now are so bad that I think that you're wasting your time on them.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah, like on release Index Death Guard that had no redeeming qualities and was just thoroughly terrible.
Just overcosted it into the moon because
Yeah,
it
it
could
did
have
no
been
damage
scary.
and was not
Yeah.
was not durable and was slow, right? Yeah.
Okay. Red Rome with the super chat just got in. What? Custodes in B. Are you all feeling optimistic today? Also, the Q Food Fund. Thank you so much. Quentin will eat well today.
We moved him down.
Maybe we were slightly optimistic on Custodes. They ended up in the upper end of C instead of the lower end of B, but that's about right in that range. Then Drew Skywalker's been a member of the War in Bronze for 16 months. How much shooting and characters should I bring in a lag?
The Liberator Assault Group.
List. I personally am a fan of balanced armies, and so I'm going to tell you less characters than what you want, more shooting than what you think you need.
I personally am of the opinion that your army should have enough shooting that your opponent has to screen for line of sight, not just range.
Yeah. I like 2 Vindicators.
Yeah.
Personally.
I think 2 Vindicators is a great splash ad.
Yep. 2 Vindicators I think is perfect. And then beyond that, I think that it genuinely look at how many characters you want and cut 2 of them.
Yep.
I think that you very much hit a point where Mephiston and the Sanguinor and Dante and Captain McFight First and Captain McPunchface all look amazing. But you can't have Lamartes and those 5 nerds. Like, I think 4... I don't think I would take more than 4 characters.
Hot take, I don't think the Sanguinor is good, and I don't think Mephiston is amazing.
Okay. You had me in the first half, not going to lie. My take, just because I want to talk about it, is Dante, Sus 3 Captain, and Mephiston. That's what you need.
I think Lamartes is up there.
Nope.
Really?
I don't think you need him.
Okay.
Lamartes gives something unique. Lamartes is the 4th character in my take 4 at most, but I don't think you have to have Lamartes.
I would swap Lamartes and
Mephiston. I feel like you just haven't been like fallback locked by the spooky Mephiston yet.
I mean, maybe. I've never seen Mephiston do anything. I've seen him like walk up, not kill something, and then die like 3 times in a row.
Well, that's not how you use them. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy to me. All right. Brother Tobias with a super chat for Ultramar. How are we feeling, company heroes? I think he's not asking how we feel about company heroes. I think we are the company heroes here. Yeah. Thank you, Brother Tobias. If it was the other one, company heroes are still amazing because, of course, they are. How are we feeling? I think we're feeling pretty good. I feel good about this tier list. Bonsai Kitty Gaming has been a member for 10 months. Thank you, Bonsai. John, tell me your thoughts on Mono Slanesh. Actual Mono. 3 Keepers and Shalaxi. Love the channel. Demons need love, in my opinion. Give us cheaper badline units and just lower points overall. Feel like we don't have enough, and the mass AP one fails hard. Yeah, I mean, I think that demons more than anyone need a codex for the detachment problem.
Yes.
Demons, like, you just can't get Slanesh identity into one detachment that also has Nurgle.
Yeah.
So I think that the demon detachment's trying to do too many things and doesn't do any of them well enough, personal opinion, and so it doesn't support enough the codex. However, if you were to take Mono Slanesh, I love it. I think that Fiends are a little better than they look. I think that a lot of the random Slanesh units have gotten a little bit better over time. I love Keepers. I think that they are still a little bit short of where they should be. And objectively, I think the army gets a ton better if you're willing to add a small amount of Nurgle.
Yeah.
If you like, I think prominently Slanesh, I think could be one of the best demon builds. I think Mono Slanesh is unfortunately imposing a limit on yourself for no reason. Look, just go shave down a Beast of Nurgle. He is now the avatar of gluttony. It's okay. He's not sick. He just had a really big dinner. And then he had dessert afterwards, and it's fine. Just paint him flesh tones, clean him up, and the Beast of Gluttony can hold your home objective, and it'll be a lot better.
Have you seen the...
There's a ton of 3D prints of like...
Have you seen the Great Clean one?
I've seen the Great Clean one.
I hate that model so much, but...
Yeah, do a clean Beast. Clean Beast of Gluttony. And he's just... Honestly, go get some Sigmar models. Go get the dude on the Palanquin.
Oh, yeah.
That's a Beast of Nurgle.
100%.
Done.
Yeah.
Like, great, it's Slanesh now. Personal take. All right. Sloppity Bile Typer is another super chat. What could we do for big knights besides points? Would adding fallback, shoot, and charge to Super Heavy Walker help? All right, 2 things. You're getting them both for free. For $4.99, actually. First, Super Heavy Walker for Imperial and Chaos Knights should include fallback, shoot, and charge. Yes. Automatic, no changes. Oh my god, how is this not a rule? Fine. Second, that will not make Chaos Knights good.
No.
Chaos Knights have massive problems that their big knights do nothing and their detachment does nothing. Fix them at the same time. Every time a Chaos Knight activates, a Titanic model activates in Chaos Knights. When you are done, pick a unit that you shot or punched, and it takes a battle shock test. Give your army rule a chance of being relevant. A chance. A possibility. Just the potential of doing something. Give me an army rule, please.
Yeah.
Instead of solid data sheets with Knights of Shade and a CP reroll. Just trucking around. Like, come on. That's how I would fix it. Is big. Like, I would like that. The fallback and actually act. On top of that, I think that Chaos Knights really need an ability to force battle shock tests so that they can use their rules. And they don't have it right now.
I agree.
Sanguinius's Left Walnut has gifted 5 Art of War 40k memberships. Thank you so much, Sanguinius' Left Nut. We appreciate you. Nurgle Matt with another super chat. Death Guard both sound good and feel like winning. Yeah, Death Guard.
I think they're really good right now.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I think they really mattered. Mark Thompson with a super chat. Morning, gents. John, are aggressors back in Ultramarine Vanguard Spearhead now that Eradicators got hit? Or are the Erads still better despite the points increase? I missed the melee. Eradicators. All the way. Sorry. Eradicators were better before aggressors went up in points. I just hadn't made the change yet.
Yeah.
And now I have. And I'm never going back. Honestly, if Eradicators cost more than aggressors, if aggressors went back to old points and Eradicators stayed at current points, I would still take the Eradicators.
Yeah.
Ignoring the fact that aggressors are wildly overcosted. Eradicators forever. Grokvar, who sounds like a Age of Sigmar goblin character.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm late to the stream, but 100% agree that Admech is much more fun to play now than it was at the start of 10th. 100%. Not as good as Skitarii Hunter cohort, but I love Cybernetica with bots and crab tanks. Yeah, I've seen Cybernetica do some cool things. I think Cybernetica is very much like the flavor pick, and Skitarii Hunter is the obvious pick. I would love it if in future balance updates they like fixed the other Admech detachments, because right now I do feel like they really only have one. But God, is it better to have one fun build than zero? So really glad with what they did. Mm-hmm. Charlie Blowers with the super chat. Where agents? I was promised no D tier factions. You're right.
They're C tier. They're not even the worst faction in the game.
Not even the worst faction in the game. Yeah. I'm so sorry, Brian. RoboCon has gifted 5 Art of War memberships. Thank you so much, RoboCon.
Thank you very much.
Sanguinius is back in the chat. What is our favorite dinosaur?
Oh, God.
Allosaurus.
I was such a dinosaur nerd as a kid.
Yeah, and now you forgot them all everything. When you went to gifted classes and
studied for actual.
Yep. No, same.
I don't know. Stegosaurus.
Stegosaurus are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Brian Sipe is here for A tier orcs. Almost. Look, if you had one LGT, I would have put him there.
Yeah.
I told him that before the event. He's like, what do I have to do to like get you to respect orcs? And I said, win LGT. He's like,
he was close.
And he's like, oh, that's ridiculous. I'm like, oh, if you don't think that you can win, then I don't respect him. He's like, oh.
Yeah.
And then he went and got second in extremely impressive showing. Well done, Brian.
How dare you lose to Liam VSL?
Yeah, right. Who would do that? Bluff with the super chat. Hi guys, how to fit Gimin and Calgar in a single list? Are aggressors a much less valuable unit with the new apothecary enhancement points? Cheers. Yes, aggressors are less valuable. God, I wish. Guilliman and Calgar, I don't think you need them both.
No.
I think that for the first time in forever, it is a choice which one you take, because for the entirety of the game that I have played, one of them has been drastically better than the other. Guilliman is 100 points more than Calgar. 100. That is not nothing. You could compare Calgar and a Company Heroes unit to Guilliman. Calgar gives 5 CP extra a game. Guilliman gives 10 extra CP a game, and they don't interfere with tactical cards.
Yes.
Okay. Calgar is a unit, not a dude. Doesn't stand up on death. Is it like a less compact package, but probably hits harder most of the time, but not as hard into like a Land Raider, because Calgar doesn't flip that and Guilliman does. I think I would say a Calgar is usually what you take, but I can genuinely see the point in Guilliman for once.
Yeah. I mean, he seems good.
Yeah.
He also goes through walls now.
Yeah,
Lone Op.
He's small. You can tuck him up in the corner of the ruin on GW Layout 1 and just like be ready to go hit people.
Yeah,
when
do you want to charge my Primarch who stands back up?
Yeah, who's going to do that?
Yeah.
All right. Planendorf. Planendorf with the super chat. I know who that is. The algorithm cares not from where the tier lists flow, only that they flow. Thanks for the awesome video. Thank you, Planendorf. We appreciate you being here. The tiers must flow.
Oh, God.
All right. And, there's more. I scrolled too fast. Here we go.
Jonathan 11 with the $5 super chat. Is the meta indicating that it is the wolf time? Is Lehman around the corner?
I'm hearing snakes.
I'm hoping, okay, this is like a secret hope that has absolutely no bearing or evidence in reality.
Because we don't actually know.
You have no idea. That when they release Emperor's Children, it's a box set with Fulgrim and Russ. And they're like fighting.
Okay, a 2 Primarch box set would cost $700 and I would buy it. But
I mean, it'd be cool.
look, I'm here for Fulgrim being the next Primarch. I'm not about this Rust life. I have chosen my side of the Space Wolf versus Dark Angel grudge match, and I will live there for the rest of my life. However, you wouldn't be shocked if you saw a loyal Russ at some point.
Yes.
You wouldn't be shocked.
I would not be shocked.
We're close. Luke Henderson, welcome to the Worm Gold. Thank you. Wes WTF. Thoughts on Rampagers in the non-Kroot detachments. Did they get cheap enough? I know they got cheaper.
They're very cheap now. I think it's like 160 or something for the 3.
160?
I think so.
Are you kidding? It cannot be 160. 160 would be horrible.
They're like, I forgot how much they are. They're very cheap now.
If they're cheap and they're like a disposable trade piece, then I'm about it.
Yeah.
Because I like me some cheap disposable trade pieces. I'm looking at this. There's no way it's 160 for 3 Rampagers.
I forgot how much it is.
Maybe it's like 160 for 6.
It might be. I remember they're cheap.
Control F Kroot.
Kroot.
Is it a Kroot Rampager?
Kroot Rampager, yeah. Maybe Kroot Rampagers.
All right, it's 190 for
6.
6.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was thinking like 160 for 3 sounded horrible.
Yeah.
95 for 3. That is close.
Yeah.
I don't think it's there.
No.
But it's close enough that if you like Kroot Rampagers,
They're
I think
interesting.
I think you could do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Boy, thoughts on Michael Mann's performance, our fellow Art of War member. Warhorde is almost universally focused on, but we've seen people run Bully and Dreadmob. Are they just exceptional? So unfortunately, I was a little out of it this weekend.
Yes.
But I believe that Michael Mann just took Bully Boys to a impressive X-1 performance at an event this past weekend.
Bully Boys.
And I believe he lost to Vanguard Ultramarine that ended up winning the major.
Wow, what a...
I know, right? What a meta.
What a meta.
There's things like that, yeah. So I'll have to look at it more, but anytime people do well with Orks, it's impressive. Trainer in the chat, sisters did nothing wrong. Yeah, you're right, Trainer. Thank you for the support. All right. And then Red Drum with 5-year super chat. Why are NIDs hard to play? How do you make it easier for you while learning the army? Whew. It's because Tyranids are, in my opinion, every unit is very monodimensional in Tyranids. Not the army. You have shooting units, you have combat units, but Tyranids also have entirely different game mechanics than other armies. I think if you're like a Tyranid main, I don't think that being a Tyranid main is like so much harder than being a Space Marine main or something like that.
No.
But if you just like casual Tyranid and you say, oh, I've been playing Space Marines, let's go to Tyranids. Where are my fallback and rules? Where are my reactive moves? Where is my defensive stratagem? Like, none of it's the same. Where are my rerolls? So Tyranids are an army that's a little unreliable on damage output. It's good. You have good weapons in Tyranids, but you're low on rerolls. You're low on fallback moves. You're low on backup plans. And so the backup plans all come from here, because all of the backup plan is the player saying, I have to account for the fact that this Exocrine might roll bad. And if it happens, I don't just re-roll it. I execute plan B.
Yeah.
You can't make plan A better in Tyranids. You just have to go through plans alpha through zeta until you get there. Battle Shock's another inherently unreliable mechanic. There's not a lot of invulns. Tyranid durability is like this tall, and it's awesome when your opponent's this tall, and when your opponent points a brigand at you, it's like, oh god, I'm not durable anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like killing an Exocrine
killed like 4 Tyranid monsters in like a battle round.
Okay, well that's stupid and not real, so I don't care. But Tyranids, because they are inherently a low reroll, unreliable army with mono roll data sheets, it is difficult to get all the puzzle pieces together on time every game.
Yeah.
But it's very fun if you do.
It is.
Final super chat is from Jack Canax. Admech may be good, but the detachment balance is horrendous, and they would need a fix. We can't play Hunter Cohort for the entire edition. I agree, Jack. I would like to see them do more internal balance fixes for Admech. We are in this tier list. We are very much, and we'll actually move back to it now because we're done with super chats. We are very much externally. Oh, that's the old one. You're right. I can fix it if you want.
Okay.
No, that's here. I got it.
Oh, yeah.
I know how to do this. There we go. This is the one you should screenshot.
Yes.
We are ranking factions on external balance. For example, Space Marines, right? Like we essentially Ultramarine Gladius ended up in the higher end of B tier, as does Ultramarine Vanguard. Salamander Firestorm is not in the same tier.
No.
And that's unfortunate for people who prefer to paint their Marines green and enjoy their Marines being green while they play them.
God forbid Imperial Fist's Anvil Siege Force.
It's not this. It's just not even the same army. Anvil Siege Force is genuinely D tier.
I was going to say,
it's what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like why?
Why? Yeah.
It's you are. Yeah, it's trolling.
Yes.
Right. Like actively, you have to pay me money to play a game with it. And no one has, so I don't. Yeah, it's just D for Deceptor tier. And
if someone pays me a lot of money, I will take Anvil Siege Force to WCW.
Yeah, 100%. There's a price for everything. But I agree, the external balance is what we're ranking here, not the internal one.
Yeah.
All right, that is actually wrapping up the tier list.
Agreed.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and enjoying this. Make sure if you want to see more content, you like this video, do all the sharing, leave a comment, let us know what you think of these tiers, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. That way you'll see it when we go live in the future, because we're going to go live with the game tomorrow. And if you want to see even more content, make sure you hit it in the war room in the link below.
Yep.
We have one more super chat. Swiss Shores asked about the Flying Hive Tyrant earlier. If you run one, would you still run a walking as well for Onslaught? No. I would only run one of the Tyrants.
Yes.
I think that so much of their value is from that free stratagem. If they were different names, sure. But I think that you decide which one is best for your list. Personally, I find Onslaught to be very valuable in the monster-heavy shooting lists that I have been favoring this edition. But in a Vanguard or in some Invasion Fleet lists, I can still very much see the argument and the reason to take a Flying Hive Tyrant. We've seen plenty of people do well with Tyranids. People like Sam Pope recently won the BFS event in the New York area just like 2 weeks ago with Invasion Fleet Tyranids with a Flying Hive Tyrant. His list is better for a Flying Hive Tyrant. Mine prefers the Onslaught of the Walking Hive Tyrant.
Yep.
I think it's a one or the other, though. I really do. All right. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I think that is going to be where we end this video. We appreciate you all, and we will see you all next time.
See you around.
Bye-bye.